17 today with the 6 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Woken with a stiff neck or sore back? Get a Physio Extra appointment today. 6 locations, physioextra.com.
A driver's had to be cut from his vehicle following a two-car crash at Ingle Farm. The Ford and Hyundai came together on Nelson Road shortly before 7 last night. The 31-year-old is in a stable condition in hospital. His injuries are not considered life-threatening. A woman and child also involved escaped with minor injuries. The State Transition Committee will meet today. On the agenda is density limits at hospitality venues, caps at private gatherings and mask-wearing rules. There are no COVID cases in the community in SA. Well, Queensland Health is continuing to monitor a COVID cluster sparked by an infected truckie in Logan. Nine's Jess Ambler is in Brisbane.
No new local COVID-19 cases were recorded yesterday, but authorities are still monitoring a cluster started by a Logan truck driver. He caught the highly infectious Delta strain in New South Wales. A 4-year-old girl and her mother, who are both family friends of the truckie, also tested positive. Most of the girl's close contacts from childcare and school have tested negative, except for 2. The family doesn't want them to be tested. Authorities are also still searching for several customers who didn't check into a nail salon considered to be a close contact site in Beenleigh on August 30. Meantime, the Premier is urging more people to take advantage of a window of opportunity to get vaccinated.
2 Australians have given evidence to a Dutch murder trial into the downing of Malaysian Airlines flight MH17. Vanessa and James Rizik, whose parents were killed, are among the relatives of the 298 victims testifying in the trial of 4 suspects. The Taliban is claiming victory over the final pocket of resistance in Afghanistan. Nine's Alison Petrowski reports.
The Taliban is posting videos on social media of their white flag being raised in Panjshir following a fortnight of fierce fighting with a resistance group. However, the resistance is denying the province has been conquered, saying they continue to fight. The US government confirmed that it has helped 4 Americans to escape through an overland route to a neighbouring country, the first land extraction since US troops left Afghanistan. Meanwhile, former UK Prime Minister Tony Blair says the withdrawal of US troops will embolden the West's enemies.
Islamism, both the ideology and the violence, is a first-order security threat, and unchecked, it will come to us, even if centred far from us, as 9/11 demonstrated.
Hugh Jackman has revealed his dad died on Father's Day, the actor posting a tribute on social media, saying he prays he's now at peace. Christopher Jackman was 84. Now to 5AA Sport.
Who loves South Australia as much as you do? Flurio Milk Company. South Australian and proud of it.
And it's good morning to Tom Wren.
And a very good morning to you as well, Mel. Let's start with football. Port Adelaide's players will hit the training track today as they prepare for Saturday night's prelim final against the Bulldogs. The side is full strength and has to work out whether to bring back Mitch Georgiades into the side. The Bulldogs, meantime, haven't ruled out playing captain Marcus Bontempelli, who's been cleared of any major structural damage after hurting his knee late in the game against Brisbane. Well, meantime, Melbourne's players have been filling in the time in Perth while playing cards and even hosting quiz nights. Coach Simon Goodwin has told Fox Footy he tried to make their first few days footy free, but now their focus is right on Friday night's game.
There's no doubt there's a group that are playing cards, there's a group that are gaming, but come Friday, that's just gone. We had a really solid match simulation, and as we build now, our hub's starting to really focus around our purpose and our ability to get our week right heading into this weekend's game.
Let's go to cricket now. India has taken a 2-1 series lead in the Test series against England after winning by 157 runs at the Oval overnight. Chasing 368 to win, the home side was dismissed for 210. Yadav with 3 wickets for the tourists. And in some soccer news to finish, the Socceroos have a World Cup qualifier tonight against Vietnam. They'll be looking to continue their winning ways after a first-up 3-0 win against China. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
The all-new Audi Q5 Sportback has arrived. Test drive it today at Audi Solitaire in Hawthorn.
Partly cloudy for your Tuesday and a top of 17. Sunny tomorrow, 22. Thursday, sunny and 24. And then up to 25 on Friday. Right now, it's 12 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Don't miss Olympic Industries Whatever the Weather sale on now. Visit olympicindustries.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
5 after 6, good morning to you. Welcome to Tuesday on 5AA Breakfast. Coming up on the program this morning, the great ice cream heist, how Golden North was rolled. You know they won best ice cream in the country the 4th year running? Maybe some discerning crooks, but crooks nonetheless. We'll speak with Trevor Pomeroy from Golden North after 7 o'clock today. Phil Curry will join us in the nation's capital to wrap the goings-on in federal parliament this week. We'll talk about the vaccination initiative with Russell Howcroft from 3AW over in Melbourne. And then we'll chat with Greg Maitland, who's a publican here in South Australia, will be well known to our listeners, who will take us inside what it's like to be the owner of what effectively becomes a hotspot. What do you get told? On what basis does the decision get taken? What does it mean for your business? We'll get into that over the course of the morning. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, listeners. Not much of a sweet tooth, but I can always find room for some Golden North honey ice cream.
That's big coming from you.
Yeah, I really don't do sweets hardly at all.
Wow.
There's not even 5 things on the list that I'm prepared to eat, but Golden North honey ice cream is one of them. No excuse for stuffing Sulo bins filled with the giant twins, like the giant twin. They sell them at the zoo.
What are you going to do with that much ice cream?
Well, this is the question.
I mean,
It would have melted, wouldn't it?
It's not there. It's not all for personal consumption, surely.
I'm looking forward to talking to Trevor Pomeroy. I like his quotes yesterday in the paper. He should join us. Breakfast with Will, Dave and Trev. I like that he just straight out of the block said, "These scumbags." It sounded like something we'd say talking to Sean Fuster.
Well, I'm kind of lost for words because I kind of figured that's what I was going to say today.
Yeah, that's right, exactly.
He's already said it.
He's done our job for us.
It is in that era of crime where you get the feeling the people perpetrating it don't actually realise there's a victim in it.
Yeah.
You know, they just think it's a bit of nuisance, bit of silliness.
Bit of a laugh. A bit like the Big Bird people.
Yeah, a bit like the Big... I think this is worse than the Big Bird one.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, this is...
Well, they didn't return them.
That's right. And they wouldn't have been much good even if they did. They were bound for show bags too. So...
Well, that's doubly unpleasant, isn't it?
Yeah.
Lucy just had a whisper in my ear. Honey ice cream is also her favourite. Do you like it?
I'm not an ice cream person. So
yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't. Look,
I've always been into
trust
ice cream.
The awards. 4th year in a row they've won it.
Not even a bit of Italian gelati? Not even a bit of pistachio?
I do gelati, but I never go out of my way to get any. I'm not into this.
So what about if you and Alison are out somewhere flash doing the degustation and like the last little thing says it's a lavender panna cotta served with honeycomb ice cream on the side.
Yeah.
Do you go, no, I'm not eating that?
Oh, I wouldn't refuse it.
I'll have the creme
brulee
brulee.
for it. But no, I don't do. I'm not done into desserts.
No,
not particularly.
1923 they started in Laura too.
Yeah.
Up
They're
north.
iconic South Australian business.
Yeah, they don't get much more iconic than that.
Rolled by these scumbags, as they
Scumbags.
point out. There's a bit of scumbag factor in the paper today. The stats that have been released by the police minister with regard to the crushing of cars. I didn't realise you could buy... If your car was set to be crushed, you could pay a fee and you could make sure it's saved.
Yeah, I think it's a stupid rule.
Yeah.
I think it's a really dumb rule.
Well,
because clearly your
it
car,
matters.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. The whole point of it is to upset and distress these idiots. How many of them are repeat offenders as well?
Almost all of them.
So why not say, no, sorry, there's no wiggle room here. You don't get to keep the one thing in your life that you value above all else, above everybody else's life as well.
$1,400 if you pay that within 38 days of confiscation of your car, it makes sure that it doesn't get impounded. Some of the other stats.
That's a cop-out.
Between July 1 and August 30. July 1 and August 30, we're not talking a big period of time here. 239 vehicles for driving while disqualified. 208 while prescribed a concentration of alcohol in the blood, 55 unlicensed having been previously disqualified for drug driving. That's a special category. And 54 unlicensed having never held a licence to drive a certain car.
Yeah.
And then you're still giving these people the right to...
This is where I reflect on the breakneck speed at which I paid my 56 kilometres in a 50 zone fine the other day and just think, more fool me.
Yeah.
We'll do it. You do it. When was the last time you got done for speeding?
I have never been done for speeding.
Never, ever?
No.
Well, Mr. Goody Two-Shoes.
I was afraid you could ask me that question.
Have you ever done anything reckless in your life, Will? I'm sure you have.
Oh, no, absolutely. I've probably been very lucky.
Yeah.
Is the way I would say it.
Yeah.
Without admitting anything to anyone listening from Sapole.
I've been done 3 times, and they've all been 50, between 50 and 60 and 50 zones. I got done twice on the same stretch of road. The first 3 months I moved back here from Sydney. South Terrace, doing 56 and 58.
There's a part of it
that didn't feel like I was on a crime spree.
Isn't the law meant to be apportioned equally to all persons as well? Like, it feels like there's a different class of criminal.
Not if you keep breaking it.
Well, if you
that seems to be the get out of.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. There are diminishing returns for punishment on crimes. But just in relation to the car crushing story, the ability to pay $1,400 to save your vehicle. Well, that's good if you've got $1,400 knocking around that you can pay up in full. So if you're a well-to-do recidivist offender on our roads, it's a different scenario for you.
Yeah.
If you're probably the more likely to become the person that can buy the next car, you're okay.
It's all about priorities, though. Like, there'd be plenty of Dero rev heads who just go, "Oh no, the one thing in life that I'm prepared to I'll go without proper food and clothes and won't spend any money on the kids, but I'll keep my souped up Commodore because that thing means the world to me."
Just crush them, I reckon.
Yeah,
12 after 6, 8223 0000 is the number. If you'd like to have your say, we always love to hear it. You can text us too on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line, even if it's just to say, Golden North Lime, yum, 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 oh, which is what the first text we got this morning said. 12 after 6, news headlines in a moment.
Need an electrician? Ken Hall Electricians. We're qualified electricians for power points, sensor lights, smoke alarms, rewires and inspections. And we're as local as you. So give Ken a call. Ken Hall Electricians, 8364 5855.
I don't really like talking on radio, but I do like talking about our cows at the FIVEaa Milk Company. And I love helping support SA dairy farmers. They're a great bunch with beautiful families. They work day and night to produce the best milk in SA. So when you're in the supermarket, look for FIVEaa Milk Company. South Australian and proud of it. I'm getting good at this.
FIVEaa Milk Company, celebrating 15 years of SA business. FLURIOMilkco.com.au.
Now, you might think it's hard to get excited about shelving, but not when you're talking about Charmin shelving.
I was only using my Charmin shelving last night after doing a bit of gardening. Any time is a good time to get in touch with Charmin Shelving and get your workshop fitted out.
From workbenches, shelving, cabinets, steel trolleys, open angle shelving, stainless steel benches, steel cupboards, even van and cool room shelving, Charmin Shelving can literally do anything, and that includes made to measure.
And they can do it on an industrial or commercial scale, not just for tinkerers like me. Jump onto their website, take a look, visit their Facebook page. You'll be blown away with what the team at Charmin Shelving can do, and they make the whole process so easy.
So if you're in business, Charmin Shelving should be your first go-to for a workshop fit-out because the possibilities are endless. Call Christine, speak to Bill, whoever it might well be. They'll give you a free measure and quote. Jump online, charminshelving.com.au, or call in and see them in person, 412 North East Road, Windsor Gardens.
Roll up, Bertie Beetle lovers! The Royal Show has been cancelled, but don't despair. Foodland and IGA supermarkets have got your sweet tooth covered. Come in store and grab one of your favourite show bags, including Kit Kat, Milky Bar, Fruit Chocks, and of course, Bertie Beetle, with prices starting from just $6. It's for a limited time and only while stocks last. On sale now at your local Foodland and IGA store.
Get more at Mawson Lakes Volkswagen with great deals on demos right across the range, all ready to drive away. And if you're impressed with our selection of cars, you'll love our service department with next day servicing, complimentary loan cars and breakfast or lunch on us. Why? Because when you're Adelaide's newest Volkswagen dealer, you want to give more. Visit mawsonlakesvw.com.au to see the range online. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, just a short drive from the city.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
For verandas, sheds, garages or carports, don't miss Olympic Industries Whatever the Weather sale on now. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
15 minutes after 6 news headlines on this Tuesday morning. Victoria could have a new opposition leader within hours. Parliament is preparing to sit for the first time since the 6th lockdown at the start of last month, but the Liberals could return with a new leader. Matthew Guy is vying to topple Michael O'Brien in the party's second leadership challenge in 6 months. He was the guy who had it before, as it turns out. 31 Liberal MPs will need to vote for the spill motion. Then they'll vote on the leadership if it gets up. Both sides at the moment are saying they've got the numbers, which is sort of par for the course for a leadership spill. The intriguing element of this is, because it's in lockdown at the moment over in Melbourne, they've got to find a venue that they could all go to have the vote where they can socially distance. It's not as easy as it would otherwise be, where they've probably got a room in
They might have to hold
Parliament
it in open air.
Well,
They might have to hold it in a park.
Well, that'd demystify the
Be like Shakespeare in the
leadership
park.
spill.
Someone ends up getting stabbed in the back.
Well, someone will.
It too, Michael.
That doesn't seem... I mean, we
they
obviously...
are an inconsequential mob,
I was
aren't
going
they?
to say, we are watching from afar, but it doesn't feel like they're blessed with a depth of talent over there at the moment.
How is it though? This is the state that fancies itself as the home of liberalism. This is why I think John Howard is such a great figure, because he's just such a no-nonsense suburban aspirationist who looked at all of those Victorian show ponies led by Andrew Peacock, backed by the likes of Michael Kroger. They've been ineffectual for a very, very long time, aside from the Kennedy era. But Labor's had Victoria to itself for a long time, and you really wonder how it is that the state that fancies itself as the home of the Australian Liberal Party can make such a hash of it so often.
A Victorian brother and sister who lost their parents during the 2014 downing of Malaysian Airlines flight MH17 have spoken of their heartbreak. The pair are among the first to give victim impact statements at the Dutch murder trial of 4 suspects. Speaking via video link, Vanessa Rizk directed her message at the alleged perpetrators.
7 years ago, you broke up my family in the worst way imaginable. 7 years on, I am determined that you will never ever break my spirit and capacity to live and love just as my dear parents would have wanted me to.
Yeah, she spoke really well. That would have been bloody difficult.
Amazing.
COVID restrictions in South Australia will be reviewed when the State Transition Committee meets today. Authorities will look at increasing density limits and caps on gatherings, including weddings and funerals. Community sport crowds and mask-wearing rules will also be looked at. Day 2 of the National Women's Safety Summit will focus on policing and prevention. Australia's E-Safety Commissioner will deliver the keynote address today. Julie Inman-Grant believes changes need to occur at cultural, societal and institutional level. We're going to be chatting with Natasha Stott-Despoja before 7 o'clock today. We'll ask her about that. It's a key area of focus for her too. Last week, West Australian Premier Mark McGowan said he'd consider easing the border once vaccination rates hit 80%. But that benchmark has now changed. He wasn't setting his goals ambitiously enough. He's now saying it's between 80 and 90%.
Oh, has the health advice changed?
I think he's sort of had a feeling. Infectious disease expert Paul Griffin says setting such a high target isn't feasible and may actually be a disincentive for people to get vaccinated.
I think we certainly need to aim for the 80%. I think that's clear. A lot of the modelling would suggest things like lockdowns will be very unlikely to be required if we hit that 80%. But to aim higher, again, well, I think it's not a bad idea, and the higher the better. I do question whether that should be the target for relaxing things.
This is the same throwaway number that Anastasia Palaszczuk has floated as well. Like, they can't, on the one hand, say this is all based on health advice and then change their position overnight without producing the new research that their state CMOs have done to back it up.
We must be the only country on earth that has 6 different sets of health advice. Everyone's stringently adhering to the health advice.
Let's move to France. Like, you look at Western Europe at the moment. They've just gone, look, you know, we know how bad things were, but put our foot down on the vaccine and open up. Like, it's just crazy. It's utterly crazy.
Are we going to realistically have a situation where in Australia we basically have different immigration policies based on which state you live in?
Yeah, potentially.
Because the Prime Minister has flagged that if if you want to stick by his plan, he'll open it up international borders in keeping with the roadmap out, which would mean, so New South Wales would have international arrivals, but Queensland wouldn't. And then
Western
what
Australia
happens?
definitely wouldn't.
Western Australia definitely wouldn't.
What happens if you come here and then you want to go to Perth at some point? You probably just need to apply.
What happens if you're from
in 2 or 3 years' time?
Yeah, but what happens if you're a French tourist who lands in Sydney and wants to drive to the Gold Coast? Or maybe you do, thinking foolishly that we're all one country that you've just entered.
Well, they're all very valid questions.
Hey, let's end with
the problem is, this is government's pandering to the interests of people who don't care about questions like that.
Mm.
This is government's governing on behalf of the myopic, the insular, the people who go, well, I don't care if you're from France and you want to come here. Well, it's not my problem that you want to go to the Gold Coast.
Mm.
Equally, it's not my problem that your 20-year-old kid wants to go overseas. I didn't go overseas till I was 50.
Yeah.
So they don't need to go overseas. These are the people who are now in charge of Australia by default.
Let's end with a good news story. A young boy who spent days missing in the New South Wales Hunter Valley is due to return home to his family. 3-year-old AJ is being checked over in hospital after being found yesterday. This is extraordinary that it turns to this story. Police at one point seized a vehicle thinking they were investigating a kidnapping. It turns out he was 500 metres from his putty home. Police helicopter spotted him drinking out of a creek.
It is staggering, isn't it? He was that close to home.
Yeah, he was there all along.
I'll tell you what, though. Every parent of a special needs kid, every person, but particularly people with special needs kids would just look at this story and go, oh my God, like that's
worst nightmare.
Oh, it's just so sad.
Yeah.
So sad. But so happy in the end.
Top of 17 today. It might be small chance of a shower, but nothing significant. It gets really nice from tomorrow. 22 and sunny tomorrow. Thursday, 24 and sunny. Friday, 25 and mostly sunny. Then cooling off a little bit for the weekend. 19 and 17, so nothing particularly chilly. And then back to 20 on Monday, which is sort of starting to get towards a bit of a spring norm, if there's such a thing. 22 after 6. We'll talk sport with Tom Wren in a moment.
The new Nissan Navara is the ultimate work vehicle. Built tough with advanced tech to get the job done. Speak to your local Nissan fleet experts today about tailoring a vehicle solution for your business needs.
In glittering style, the Adelaide Symphony Orchestra and musical theatre stars perform your favourite show-stopping tunes from the great musicals in A Night on Broadway. From Phantom of the Opera and Les Miserables to Wicked and Frozen and more. They say the neon lights are bright on Broadway, and the lights will shine as bright on Adelaide in this dazzling concert. A Night on Broadway with the Adelaide Symphony Orchestra at Festival of Orchestra. Wednesday, December 1st. Book at aso.com.au.
Great eye care starts with OPSM, and at OPSM until Thursday, get 20% off lenses and lens extras. Choose from the latest new season designs and a wide range of leading brands like Ray-Ban, Prada, Oakley and Vogue. You're sure to find frames and innovative lenses that suit your unique look and lifestyle. OPSM also has dedicated and passionate optometrists and team members ready to help you with your eye care needs. So visit OPSM today and receive 20% off lenses and lens extras when purchased as part of a complete pair. Offer ends Thursday. That's the 9th of September, so 2 days' time. All health funds are welcome. There are further T's and C's and apply. For store locations, it's easy. Just go to opsm.com.au. That's OPSM, Life Focused.
When she was 21, Diane was hurting from childhood trauma and battling an addiction. Her life turned around at a Salvation Army recovery service and changed forever.
The Salvos saved my life. Now it's my chance to speak up and support them so they can continue their great work. I believe in what they do and their capacity to help transform lives. I am proof of that.
Diane has chosen to leave a gift in her will to the Salvation Army so she can give hope to others long after she's gone. You can transform many lives by leaving a gift in your will. Visit salvationarmy.org.au/wills.
Spring into a new kitchen with You Install at Spring Sale and get up to 25% off cabinets this month only. Stop dreaming and start renovating. Custom-sized and pre-assembled cabinetry means big savings without compromising on quality and style. Do it now. Plan your perfect kitchen with our 3D design planner online. Search You Install It or visit our showrooms at Modbury, Glandore, Norwood, Lonsdale and Churchill Centre. You Install It Kitchens, the complete DIY kitchen solution. Conditions apply.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Don't miss Olympic Industries Whatever the Weather sale on now. Visit olympicindustries.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
25 minutes after 6, Tom Wren's in the studio with us. 3 words make a big difference to our local dairy farmers. FIVEaa Milk Company in your supermarket now. Morning to you, Rennie.
Morning, Will. Morning, Penbo. Boys, I was out at Alberton yesterday for Port Adelaide.
How's the vibe?
It's great. It really is good. They were relaxed. They had their AFL players and then the Sandville players, and it was just fascinating looking at Mitch Georgiades. See, I personally think he's built for finals. I think his body, the way he plays the game.
He's a very good footballer.
He's a rock star for mine. He's 30. Look, he's a second-year player. This is the thing. 32 goals, though. He's kicked the second most goals for the season, 21 games. Who does he come in for? This is the thing. I think it's either Todd Marshall or Pete Laddams, but I think you need Laddams in case Lysett goes down, and he's been playing really well.
Well, isn't the ruck where the Dogs are most vulnerable to? Like, you don't want to lose that edge.
Yeah. Yeah, Tim English is good, but he's still not quite taken that next step.
What about the Bont? What are you hearing there?
Well, scans have cleared him, but there is not of serious structural damage, but the word serious is interesting. I don't think there's any conceivable way he's close to 60% fitness. I think it's a huge risk. They'll jab him up.
Hawkins said they should play him on one leg.
Well, and they likely will. They likely will, and just rest him forward. But by the second, third quarter, when the injections start to wear off, there is no way he's going to be able to move around. Now, the Bont is a special player. He's in the top 2 or 3 in the league, but it's a huge risk. Look, things are looking really good for Port, but I reckon these are among the toughest conversations Ken Hinkley will have to have had as a coach this week.
Yeah.
This is where you earn your money. It's going to be very difficult. Fellas, also, another big story. Lachie Neale, this is huge news. The fact that he's started his career at Fremantle, left essentially to go to Brisbane because he didn't like the way things were going, left for Chris Fagan, left Ross Lyon at the time. But now we're hearing reports, he's basically said, I want to go back to Freo. Got me thinking of some other players that have started at one club, then left, and then come back. Gary Ablett Jr., Geelong, Gold Coast, Geelong, Corey McKernan. There's quite a few. Chris Heffernan, Essendon, Melbourne, then back to Essendon. Josh Carr, Port Adelaide, Freo, then back to Freo. Eddie Betts, Carlton, Adelaide, back to Carlton. Cristiano Ronaldo, that's probably the biggest one. They've sold more than $30 million worth of shirts. It's basically paid for him.
30 million?
Already, yeah. People buying new shirts, his shirt.
The new Ronaldo shirt.
Yeah.
Man, you.
Because he's coming back. But it got me thinking, who were some of the players that you wished in your time returned after leaving? I'll give you my first one. I love both of these guys, but it just ended so awkwardly. I always wished that Tony Modro came back to the Crows.
Yeah.
Or never left, really. It always felt like that was the travesty that he missed out on a grand final. He was such a beautiful Coleman medalist in 97, did his knee in the prelim, didn't play in the grand final, and then 98, it ended so badly in the final.
You guys remember that footage of him sitting on the boundary in 97 with a tear in his eye?
Yeah. Great bloke.
The one I really miss right now is Charlie Cameron. I love that bloke. When he's on, I reckon he's the most exciting player in the competition.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's taken over that mantle as that freak small forward.
Totally.
Showed glimpses of it the other night. Can I tell you, Rennie, and you want you to tell me whether this is crazy, my Crows are involved in the Lachie Neale story. This is a bit of a tangent. So, Lachie Neale goes from Brisbane. They're in the window. They're in the hitting zone. They're trying to win right now. Some speculation that to fill the void, they might go for Luke Parker, who's from Sydney.
Yep.
Free agent. They wouldn't have to trade anything. They could just pay the money and bring him in. Crows' number one target, by all reports this offseason, is Jordan Dawson. The Sydney player came third in the BNF, 24-year-old, 100 games. He's perfect. You could fit him in tomorrow, and he's probably a top 5 player at the Adelaide Football Club. He's huge. I reckon I can foresee this having major ramifications for that pursuit, given if Sydney have to pay more to keep Luke Parker, their salary cap's already in trouble. So Dawson might get squeezed out and makes him more viable as a Crows option. Alternately, Parker goes to Brisbane and suddenly they've got money. They can't allow Dawson to go. They'll pay whatever it takes to keep him. Is that reasonable, or is it just a Crows fan who sees everything as through those lenses?
No, that's definitely
How did
reasonable.
you even work that out?
Yeah, I like that.
I was laying in bed last night thinking about it.
100% that's feasible. And
like
if that
something out of a
happens...
Beautiful Mind.
Yeah, just all the numbers.
Yeah.
If that happens, I wouldn't be surprised if the Crows make a play for Dylan Stephens.
Yes, well, that makes sense too. Someone's going to have to get squeezed out.
Yeah.
Former top 5 pick, South Australian.
And struggling to get a game.
Struggling to get a game.
So,
I like it.
Yeah, there's a lot happening and a lot to happen, but I like that.
There you go.
That was
Crows
good.
fans just know I'm always thinking of ways. I'm always thinking of ways of getting it in. I'm trying to get it into the conversation.
High end.
This is our time of years coming up. Draft, trading, don't worry. Here we
call
come.
Uber analysis.
Good on you, Rennie.
Thanks, mate.
Who loves South Australia as much as you do? FIVEaa Milk Company, South Australian and proud of it.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy, 17 today with the 6:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
The X in Physio Extra stands for extra time, extra care, extra convenience, with 6 locations. Visit physioextra.com.
COVID numbers continue to climb in Victoria amid fears the current outbreak could exceed last year's peak. Nine's Christina Hearn is in Melbourne.
Yesterday, 246 new cases were recorded, the biggest jump of this outbreak so far, with health authorities most concerned about household transmission, particularly in the city's north and west. They say Delta is targeting the unvaccinated. 67 Victorians battling the virus in hospital had received no vaccine at all despite being eligible, while 13 were not eligible because they're under the age of 16. In a bid to boost the rollout, 402 extra GPs will be able to administer the jab from next week, but it's not enough to save the Melbourne Star. COVID and no tourists, the final blow for the trouble-plagued attraction.
South Australia's COVID restrictions will be assessed again today when the State Transition Committee meets. Restrictions on private gatherings and crowd capacity will be top of the agenda. A 2-car crash that resulted in one of the drivers having to be cut from his vehicle is under investigation. It happened on Nelson Road at Ingle Farm last night. The 31-year-old is in a stable condition in hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. A woman and child in the other car have been treated for minor injuries. Australia's e-safety commissioner says there's no one-size-fits-all approach to stopping violence against women. Day 2 of the National Women's Safety Summit will focus on policing and prevention. Julie Inman-Grant says Australia still has a long way to go.
I think there needs to be massive change at a societal level, at a cultural level, and at an institutional level. You can't take a one-size-fits-all solution, and you also have to work with the communities.
There are questions regarding AJ Alphalak's miraculous story of survival in the bush in the New South Wales Hunter region. There are suggestions the 3-year-old may have been abducted for part of the time he was missing. AJ was found yesterday, having survived since Friday, with no food in sometimes freezing conditions. Australian siblings are among the relatives of the 298 victims of MH17 testifying in the Dutch murder trial of 4 suspects. Nine's Brett McLeod reports.
Vanessa and James Risk spoke in sorrow and defiance at the murder trial of 4 men charged in absentia over the downing of flight MH17. Today was the beginning of victim impact statements, with the brother and sister in Sunbury giving video evidence to the Dutch court. James decrying what he called the sheer arrogance of Russia, which has refused to assist the inquiry, and calling on the court to find the 4 men guilty. Vanessa saying her spirit will never be broken, nor her capacity to live and love as her parents would have wanted.
The UK will provide a safe and legal route for up to 20,000 people from Afghanistan over the coming years. The British Prime Minister is launching a new resettlement program that will offer individuals 5-year visas. Boris Johnson says it will also include civilians who face a particular risk from the Taliban.
We are upholding Britain's finest tradition of welcoming those in need. And I emphasise that under this scheme we will of course work with the UN and aid agencies to identify those we should help, as we have done in respect of those who fled the war in Syria.
Now Now turning to 5AA Sport.
3 words make a big difference to our local dairy farmers. FIVEaa Milk Company. In your supermarket now.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Port Adelaide's players will be put through their paces at Alberton today as they start to ramp up their preparation for Saturday night's preliminary final against the Bulldogs. The Power have to consider whether to bring back players from the Sandful, including Mitch Georgiades, Sam Powell-Pepper, Hamish Hartlett and Tom Cleary. The Bulldogs, meantime, haven't ruled out playing skipper Marcus Bontempelli for the match, with scans clearing him of serious structural damage to his knee. Let's go to tennis. 18-year-old Emma Raducanu has continued with her dream summer, which started at Wimbledon. She's now won her US Open fourth-round match in straight sets. Nine's Craig Gabriel is at the US Open.
Emma Raducanu started to be noticed at Wimbledon when she reached the last 16. Now she's in the US Open quarters and she couldn't believe it. Raducanu beat Shelby Rogers, who upset Ash Barty 6-2, 6-1, and she'll now play Olympic gold medalist Belinda Bencic, who beat Iga Swiatek. The other singles gold medalist, Alexander Zverev, accounted for Yannick Sinner 6-4, 6-4, 7-6, and South African Lloyd Harris has advanced to play Zverev.
And in some cricket to finish, India has recorded an impressive 157-run win against England after dismissing the home side for 210 on the final day of the fourth test at the Oval. The tourists now lead the 5-match series 2-1. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
The all-new Audi Q5 Sportback has arrived. Test drive it today at Audi Solitaire in Hawthorn.
Heading for a top of 17 today, partly cloudy, sunny tomorrow 22, Thursday sunny 24. Right now it's 12 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
For veranda sheds, garages or carports, don't miss Olympic Industries Whatever the Weather sale on now. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
24 minutes to 7. Different thoughts coming through on the car crushing story. Front page of the Tizer this morning on the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line. One reads, guys, I'm all for confiscating cars, but crushing them seems like a waste of taxpayers' money. They should be marked as statutory write-offs, never to be registered again, and sold off at auction for parts to the highest bidder.
Agree.
I'm sick of my taxes going to people who have no regard for the safety of themselves and others. Thank you for that. Then another reads, the Hoons get to purchase their car back for a small fee, compared to buying a new car, that is. Tells me that revenue raising is more important than public safety. That's from Corey. I think a lot of people will read that story today thinking that.
Yeah, I think Corey's hit the nail on the head there, and it's not the police's fault. I think that with the stroke of a pen, the government or the opposition could advocate a change to this policy right now.
I think that what's happened, the state government have given the story to the Tizer saying, you know, thinking that people, the natural reaction is going to be great, good work's being done, getting Hoons off the road. But I think a lot of people will say that. A lot of people's interpretation of that story will be, okay, so money's more important to you than getting these cars off the road or punishing these people appropriately.
And as we said, if you're a Hoon, the one thing you should not have is a car.
Absolutely.
Because it's the entire issue. There's one I want to read out too. I think you tiptoed around it, Will, given you've never broken any of the traffic offences.
I didn't say that exactly.
Oh, have you been pinged for something else, have you?
I think I've had multiple parking offences.
Oh, that doesn't count. Unless they're in disabled zones.
No, I've parked. No, yeah.
Stephen from Mount Barker says, good morning, gents. I'm 51. I've had my licence since late 1985. I've been on the road for work 98% of the past 36 years. I've not received any traffic fines, and my theory is I give enough to the government. I'm not about to give them something they don't deserve.
Well played, Stephen. Tight bums are the safest people on the roads, you and I.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, for the $100 wireless gift card this morning, get you thinking about big ideas that worked or didn't. Big ideas that worked or didn't. There was a big failure in Melbourne yesterday, the Melbourne Star, you know, the big Ferris wheel that you see on when you drive in from the airport. It's gone kaput. But bankrupt, bust. It's not happened.
The one down in Docklands.
Yeah, I think of things like the MATS plan here in South Australia. Big idea didn't happen. There are some big ideas that have happened. I'm not sure there's been a bigger idea than what billionaire Mark Law has come out with in the last few days, former Walmart executive in the United States. He wants to build a 5 million person new city in America. A 5 million person new city in America at a cost of some $400 billion.
Where's he going to put it?
He doesn't know yet. They've narrowed it down to Nevada, Utah, Idaho, Arizona, or Texas. Or the Appalachian region?
Yeah, Appalachian,
the
the mountain range.
But, okay, Appalachian region. Where's that, like Colorado or something, is it? I'm not sure.
Don't the Appalachians sort of run north-south but curve around towards the west?
So anyway, they've really not narrowed it down at all, but they're the places they want to build it. It'll be a 150,000-acre proposal. He wants to build it all eco-friendly. It'll be a 15-minute city, which sounds familiar to people that lived here in South Australia. We used to be that too. Residents have access to workplaces, schools and amenities within a quarter-hour commute. That's the dream. There'll be no fossil-fueled vehicles allowed in the city. They're all
really?
totally banned. Autonomous vehicles are part of the plan for the future. It'll be built in stages, the first being 50,000 residents across 1,500 acres with a cost of $25 billion. So $400 billion is the aim he wants.
He's channeling the spirit of the late John Bannon.
This is it.
This is the MFP
Absolutely.
on steroids.
It really is. So we thought $100 Waller's gift card, big ideas that worked or big ideas that didn't work. You can text us too on the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line, 0448 08 1395.
Yeah, I was thinking about the MFP. I had lunch with John Bannon not long before he died. He was excellent company, very gentle and decent man. And I think unfairly remembered in the context of the State Bank collapse. And, you know, he seemed quite sort of well-adjusted about that and just knew, well, you know, it's like the old Clint Eastwood line at the end of Unforgiven, deserve's got nothing to do with it. Sometimes stuff just happens. But I asked him about the MFP, and I said, the MFP sounds like crazed fantasy in 1989, and in 2020, it actually sounds like Mawson Lakes.
Yes.
You know, like medium density housing co-located with industry, with modern, high-end, IT-based, advanced manufacturing-based industries, houses that are webbed up. I mean, the key problem with it was the land deal was a bit loose, but the actual idea itself was ahead of its time.
Yep. We always pillory every big idea too. Anytime someone, especially in politics, comes up with a big vision, they're so easy to pick apart. The bigger something is, the more holes they're going to be in the plan.
Well, my only instinct is if the government's come up with the idea and it's so brilliant, why hasn't the private sector come up with it already?
Yes, that's a reasonable question to ask. Well, so I think what would fit into this conversation is the National Broadband Network is probably a big idea.
Yeah.
The idea you can connect everyone, no matter how remote, rural, put Australia on this giant network. And I can tell you there's a big reason the private sector didn't come up with that idea. Because it doesn't make any money.
Yes.
And there's a real chance the technology might be redundant already. But anyway... beyond that, it's going magnificently well.
Big ideas, folks.
We're getting texts through on the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line. Ed from Rosedale says this guy sounds like Hank Scorpio. Bryce Gibbs.
Oh, that's
Bryce
harsh.
Gibbs is the big plan that didn't work. The big idea. I didn't see a sportman coming in the context of this conversation.
Leave him alone.
The one-way Southern Expressway, says Stuart in Royal Park. Was that a big idea? Or was that half an idea?
It was half a big idea.
Yeah, it was halfway to a big idea.
Yeah. Took them 2 goes, but they got there in the end.
Keep them coming in. We'll give away a $100 Waller's gift card. 8223 Text us on the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line 0448 08 1395. In the meantime, we'll check traffic. Glenelg BMW is now open on Brighton Road. Drop in and see Adelaide's newest home for BMW.
Good morning. At Hillier, a car's broken down on the Northern Expressway near Two Wells Road. Crafers and Stirling expect delays there, both directions on the freeway for work. Speeds at 60, restrictions apply. And Woodville Park, slow going on Port Road between Kilkenny Road and Woodville Road for work. Speeds are down to 40. Look out for cameras this morning. Hub Drive, Aberfoyle Park, Kennahan's Road, Happy Valley, and Mount Barker Road at Bridgewater. So your unwanted items for instant cash at Cash Converters. Visit their brand new store at Playford Shopping Centre, Manopara today and see what they can make possible for you. 100 points of ID required. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Hi, I'm Lawrence. My wife thinks I'm crazy, but I hate sagging, back-killing, foam-only mattresses. That's why I tested my brand new Sleeping Duck mattress against a 15-ton steamroller to see if its springs really are indestructible. Check it out at mattress-testing.com.
Participate in a clinical trial and forge the future of modern medicine. A potential treatment for dementia is being trialled at CMAX in the Adelaide CBD. The trial requires healthy adults aged 18 to 65 to stay at the facility for 7 consecutive nights. All eligible participants are paid for their time. Sign up for CM5421 at cmax.com.au. That's cmax.com.au.
Now, there's nothing more South Australian than having each other's backs.
That's certainly right, Will. This is great. This is we did the great interview yesterday about this with the Foodland people. When the Royal Adelaide show was cancelled, it left the South Australian Country Women's Association in a tough spot, about to miss a crucial fundraising event with hundreds of kilos of jam made just for the show on their hands and unsold.
We chatted with the big boss at Foodland about this yesterday. It's a great idea. Foodland heard about it, stepped up to support them by purchasing the jam and then generously donating it back. How good's that? So thanks to Foodland, the jam will now be sold to fundraise at the Adelaide Central Markets. That'll be up to the 11th of September. That's this Saturday. So there's still a chance to try delicious South Australian-made jam and scones.
Now, every purchase that you make supports a not-for-profit that served the community and supported women and children since 1929. Their motto is sharing and caring with actions.
Invite a friend for jam and scones. Support the South Australian Country Women's Association at the Adelaide Central Market in the community kitchen area until Saturday, the 11th of September.
Dr. Greg Keane explains how SportsMed puts patients first every day.
SportsMed is different. We have a clinic and hospital with specialists, doctors, physios and podiatrists all together in one location. There's also pathology, radiology, pharmacy and a cafe. This makes life easier for our patients because their appointments can all happen right here. It also lets us diagnose issues quickly, leading to high quality, cost-effective care.
And their patients love it. SportsMed.
Start living life again with our expert help.
sportsmed.com.au.
So, you've got a will. But, is your estate plan in place? What if you lose capacity to manage your financial affairs? Or to make medical or health decisions? What happens then? Who gets your superannuation? Who controls the family trust? From the simplest to the most complex wills and estate plans, Donlan Lawyers can answer your questions and help carry out your wishes. Wills and estate planning? Visit donlanlawyers.com. That's donlanlawyers.com.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
Don't miss Olympic Industries Whatever the Weather sale on now. Visit olympicindustries.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
13 to 7, talking big ideas, big plans, big concepts that worked or maybe didn't. Peter and Hillbanks called in with one for the $100 Walters gift card. Morning to you, Peter.
Yeah, good morning. How are we?
Good mate.
Thanks, Peter.
This is for anybody that lives out in the northern suburbs, at the corner of Elizabeth Way and Maynorth Road. They've put a multi-storey car park, about 6 to 8 levels high, but nobody uses it. So there is. If you've headed out to the Riverland and you pass the Elizabeth shopping centre, they've got this massive multi-storey car park, and they've had it up for about 2 years, and I don't recall seeing a car in it.
Maybe they're just planning ahead, mate, for urban sprawl.
Well, this is it. So,
getting ahead of the curve.
Yeah. Good on you, Peter. That's a good one. I like that. Nice local one. Mark is
like putting a train station at Yankalilla, just in case.
Yeah, well, that's right. It pays to be prepared. That's right. Mark says the desalination plant. Mike Rand's Great White Elephant, the desal plant.
Has that ever been turned on?
They don't they have to run it to a certain level to maintain the warranty?
It's like my old Toyota LWB 11-seater bus down at the shack.
Got to turn it over every so often.
Turn it on once a month.
Yeah.
Or it seizes up completely.
Jared says the Mats plan, now they've finally completed it to some extent, which is true. He also says, my favourite skivvies to work. Not sure it was a big idea, Jared. And
good on you, Jared.
I'll leave it up to you to determine whether it was a success or not. Now, let's catch up with SAPOL. Senior Constable Rebecca Stokes is on the line. Rebecca, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Been a couple of break-ins overnight.
Yes, the first one was at Findon, about 1 a.m, an alarm activated at a sports store at Grange Road. Police officers found a front window had been smashed with a hammer by 2 offenders who stole armfuls of Nike clothing before leaving. We searched the area with the assistance of police dogs Marley and Arnie, but haven't located these suspects. So anyone who saw any suspicious activity in Findon last night, these 2 possibly left in a vehicle, contact Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
Also, Rebecca, an old guy has been pulled over for making an illegal U-turn.
Yes, I think he's actually really pleased to see police in this instance because it ended up saving him thousands of dollars. Normally traffic stops cost you money, but this old man was quite fortunate. It was about 11 a.m. yesterday morning. patrol stopped a car after it was seen to perform an unauthorised turn onto King William Street in the CBD. When they stopped and spoke with the driver, he's an 84-year-old man, and went to educate him about the road rules, during that conversation it was revealed that he was looking for a specific bank to deposit a large sum of money, and it turned out he'd actually been the victim of a scam after receiving a phone call.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so the scammer claimed that he was from the fraud section of a major bank and that 2 illegal transactions had been made from the victim's account. And they asked him if he would help them to catch the crooks by depositing a large sum of money in another account.
Oh, no, the poor bloke.
Yeah, so fortunately the SAPOL officers were able to alert him to the scam and no money was transferred or lost. So just really fortunate, just really in the right place at the right time.
Wow, that's actually a good thing he did do the illegal U-turn.
Yeah.
Hey, did he get charged with doing the illegal U-turn?
No, I did ask that, but no, they thought that he'd gone through enough. And
that's
yeah,
good.
So he was just educated about
That is good.
turning.
Good use of your discretionary powers there by SAPOL,
Exactly.
I reckon.
Good stuff.
Although, we thought he had saved lots of money.
That's
so
true.
there's also the argument that, he could now afford it.
Maybe a substantial fine wouldn't hurt him, given he was still thousands of dollars up. No, that's good that you did that, I reckon.
Hey, Rebecca, what's the latest on this Golden North robbery?
Yes, this happened on Sunday night, sometime between 10:30pm Sunday night and 6:30am Monday morning. 2 suspects broke into a freezer outside the factory on Main North Road at Nailsworth. They stole hundreds of dollars worth of ice creams from the freezer, and they were seen transporting them down the road in a wheelie bin. We're asking anyone who saw this incident. The CCTV is actually still being analysed by police, but it has been shown on the news last night. So hopefully someone recognises them and calls Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be speaking with the boss there at Golden North after 7 o'clock. Senior Constable Rex Stokes from SAPOL. Let's talk weather. Simon Timke, Senior Forecaster at the Bureau. Feels like we're on the cusp of some pretty nice weather, Simon.
Yeah, some sunshine on the way, I think, over the next few days, but a bit of cloud around now, and that's stopped our temperature dropping too low overnight. Looking around the suburbs at the moment, most places sitting on around 11 degrees or so, although it is a bit colder around the hills, just 6 degrees at Mount Lofty at the moment. Also, just a slight chance of a very light shower this morning about the hills. There was something showing up on the radar down sort of the southern hills around Noarlunga Way earlier this morning, but that's, I think, just an early morning feature. So the rest of the day should be dry, but with that cloud around, hopefully see a bit of sunshine breaking through during the afternoon. Winds at the moment generally pretty light and mostly a sort of a south-southwesterly direction. Probably see them tend around a little bit more westerly during the afternoon with a sea breeze. Maximum temperatures today, looking at 17 degrees for the city, 17 as well for Glenelg and Elizabeth, 16 degrees for Mount Barker and Noarlunga. But the next couple of days, plenty of sunshine on the way and getting a little bit warmer too. A cold morning tomorrow, down to 7 degrees for Wednesday morning, then a sunny day, 22 degrees the maximum, 24 and sunny for Thursday, 25 and mostly sunny for Friday. And then there's a bit of a change moving across on Saturday, which will bring some cooler conditions, maybe the chance of a shower too late in the day, so a possible shower while the big footy game is on Saturday evening, I think. 19 degrees the maximum for Saturday. Then Sunday, still a chance of a shower around 17 degrees. Then back to sunny conditions for Monday, 20 degrees the maximum.
The showers look like they'll be fleeting, though, on the weekend, don't they, Simon? Like, there's not even a mill, is it?
We'll keep our fingers crossed. Yeah, at this stage we're forecasting less than a millimetre.
Yeah.
So hopefully not enough to cause too many problems for the footy game Saturday night.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yep. Good on you, Simon.
Thanks, guys.
Simon Timke, Senior Forecaster at the Weather Bureau. 7 to 7. Natasha Stott-Despoil will join us on the show right after this.
Look at the head on that. How did you become such a good home brewer?
Easy. I just WEA'd it.
Cheers. Cheers.
With new courses going up every week, you can WEA anything. wea-sa.com.au.
I'm James Wohlers. Did you realise at Wohlers we still make our own timber furniture? We offer everything from bedroom and dining right through to living and outdoor. We can even design custom pieces just for you. From our classic Victorian antique reproductions or our everyday Havana ranges, right through to our colourful boho furniture featured on Adelaide. If you have a passion for timber like me, come and visit one of our Wohlers showrooms at Mount Barker, Richmond and Tanunda.
G'day, it's Rowie with Eddie May from NRG Solar. Now, Eddie, why is now the best time to buy solar?
Thanks, Rowie. Government rebates will fall at the end of December. So if you act now, we can install your system in 2021 and you can save an additional $500 to $800 on a typical system, which is a considerable saving. The person who waits another year to decide to get solar will lose thousands of dollars.
Hey, thanks, Eddie. So go solar now and save. For more info, simply visit nrgsolar.com.au.
Schools, councils and businesses all over South Australia choose Leader Computers. For very important reasons. Leader is local and exceptional value. No matter what happens, Leader can be on site to fix your problem. No overseas or interstate call centres to deal with. Plus, Leader Computers is a 100% owned and operated South Australian company offering fast same-day delivery and setup. That's why so many organisations rely on Leader. Google Leader Computers to find your closest Leader reseller.
I want to start my own business, but I don't know where to start.
Why don't you WEA it? With new business courses going up every week, you can WEA anything. wea-sa.com.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. For verandas, sheds, garages or carports, don't miss Olympic Industries Whatever the Weather sale on now. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
4 to 7 after 7 o'clock this morning. Trevor Pomeroy from Golden North Ice Cream will join us on the program. Police still on the lookout for the people that turned up with a couple of Sulo bins and decided to steal all the stock that was intended for Royal Show bags. So we'll chat with Trevor about that after 7 o'clock. He had some strong words to say about them yesterday. Phil Curry in the nation's capital after 7:30. We'll talk vaccination after 8 o'clock a little bit later in the morning, and then give you some insight. What it's like if you own a small business, a pub, and you get told you're a hotspot. What happens next? What are the lines of communication? What does it mean for your business? Greg Maitland will come up after 8:30. But first we turn our attention to Women's Health Week. Natasha Stock-Despoja joins us on 5AA Breakfast. Natasha, good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you this morning?
We're good, thanks, Nat. Good to have you on the show again. It's been a while. So tell us about Women's Health Week. Is it combined with the Safety Summit? Are they one of the same thing?
No, they're quite distinct things. Women's Health Week is an initiative about 9 years ago by an organisation, a not-for-profit women's health group called Jean Hales. And basically it's about highlighting issues that affect women and their health. But, Dave, you are quite right to not necessarily conflate the two, but put them in the same sentence because, of course, domestic and family violence, violence against women is actually the leading cause of death, illness and disability for women under 45. So Women's Health Week coincides with the Women's Safety Summit on at the moment, and probably with good reason.
Yeah, absolutely. I was talking to Aman about some of the stuff that he's been doing around that yesterday. So what are the uniquely sort of challenging aspects of health for women as you see them, Nat?
Well, it's interesting because I noticed that today and every day they highlighted different issues. So they are obviously tackling issues associated with some form of stigma. So whether that's the scourge of domestic family violence or sexual assault, or whether it's, as the Young South Australian of the Year, Isabel Marshall highlights the issue of so-called period poverty and some of the stigma around menstruation and those issues for discussion for young girls and women. So all kinds of things, including, how you can live a more healthy lifestyle. I went to a wonderful fundraiser last night for the Afghan community and have to say that I had red wine on a Monday night. So I'm not sure that I'm the poster child for Women's Health Week. But more seriously, of course, it's about highlighting things that we can do, whether that's exercise, whether that's, healthy relationship with things like drugs and alcohol, or indeed focusing on mental health. And as a former deputy chair of Beyond Blue, I feel very strongly about people feeling able to ask for help and access services when it comes to their mental as well as physical health. So if you pop onto the Jean Hales website or womenshealthweek.com.au, you can actually learn more about this initiative, especially, I think, for young girls and women and, our daughters and friends.
And just quickly, Natasha, on the Women's Safety Summit Day 2, looking at policing and prevention, what are the messages to authorities that will come out today?
Oh, look, I think the idea of investing early, primary prevention. I mean, I listened to, Koshi talk on a summit panel yesterday about, the fact that we can encourage young people to develop healthy, ethical, respectful relationships earlier. In fact, earlier the better. So yes, we need more funds for intervention, for judicial and police and enforcement, but we also need to invest in education and all the settings in which we love, live, learn, work and play. So that's really important that we start early and develop healthy and respectful relationships and attitudes, whether that's boys, girls, men, women, or however we identify.
Good stuff, Nat. Natasha Stott-Despoja, women's rights campaigner, former leader of the Australian Democrats, former senator for SA. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy and 17 today with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Woken with a stiff neck or sore back? Get a Physio Extra appointment today. 6 locations, physioextra.com.
There's been a break-in at a sports store in Findon. Senior Constable Rebecca Stokes says they were called to the Grange Road business at 1 a.m.
Police officers found a front window had been smashed with a hammer by 2 offenders who stole armfuls of Nike clothing before leaving. We searched the area with the assistance of police dogs Marley and Arnie but haven't located these suspects.
And an antiques dealer at Glenelg was targeted just before 5 this morning. 2 display cabinets were smashed and jewellery stolen. The 2 suspects left the store in a black Hilux ute or similar and were last seen heading east on Anzac Highway. A 3-year-old boy who went missing for 3 nights in the Hunter Valley is back home after being checked over in hospital. AJ was found while drinking from a creek about 500 metres from his putty home. SES volunteer Greg Chalmers has described the moment he approached the boy after he was spotted by the police helicopter.
The chopper was pretty noisy and he looked around, he gave him the biggest smile and I sat down in the river beside him understanding his condition and, just talked to him and just reassured him and then I checked him for injuries and then sat him on my knees.
Policing and prevention will be top of the agenda on the second and final day of the Women's Safety Summit. Nine's Lucy Gray has more.
Australia's e-safety commissioner will address women's safety through 3 separate lenses during her keynote address at today's virtual summit. Julie Inman-Grant believes prevention, protection and proactive change are key to ensuring meaningful progress to end violence. Safety and security for older women will also be on the agenda and there'll be a chance for Australians to give their feedback. In Canberra, Lucy Gray, 9 News.
COVID restrictions in South Australia will be reviewed when the State Transition Committee meets today. Authorities will look at increasing density limits and caps on gatherings, including weddings and funerals. Community sport crowds and mask-wearing rules will also be looked at. A Victorian brother and sister who lost their parents during the 2014 downing of Malaysia Airlines flight MH17 have spoken of their heartbreak. The pair were among the first to give victim impact statements at the Dutch murder trial of 4 suspects charged over the downing of the flight. Speaking via video link, Vanessa Rezic directed her message at the alleged perpetrators.
7 years ago, you broke up my family in the worst way imaginable. 7 years on, I am determined that you will never ever break my spirit and capacity to live and love just as my dear parents would have wanted me to.
Actor Michael K. Williams has been found dead in his New York apartment, aged 54. He was best known for playing Omar Little in The Wire. Now turning to 5AA's sport.
Who loves South Australia as much as you do? Fluorio Milk Company. South Australian and proud of it.
And with everything footy, here's Tom Wren.
Yes, thank you, Mel. Let's begin there. Ports players will train today as they look ahead to Saturday night's prelim final against the Bulldogs at Adelaide Oval. Dock skipper Marcus Bontempelli is still a chance to play in that prelim against the Power. Club Chief Executive Amat Bain says scans on his bad knee are somewhat positive, but it's still a waiting game.
They've cleared him of any significant structural damage. He's got a bit of soreness, so we've got to manage that through, but he is improving day by day. You know, like everyone, we're really hopeful that that improvement continues as we get closer to the game and he's available to play.
Meantime, the Sandford finals will be launched today ahead of the first week of the finals this weekend. Norwood will meet the Eagles in the qualifying final, while South will face off against North in the elimination final. Well, Alexander Zverev is into the US Open quarter-finals after beating Yannick Sinner 6-4, 6-4, 6-1. Zverev will play against Lloyd Harris in the quarters. Benita Bencic was too strong for Iga Swiatek in straight sets, winning the first set in a tiebreak, 14 points to 12. Meantime, Emma Raducanu has beaten Shelby Rogers in straight sets. Briefly elsewhere, Valtteri Bottas has secured a move to Alfa Romeo for the 2022 Formula One season. George Russell is expected to replace him at Mercedes. India has beaten England by 157 runs in the fourth test at the Oval overnight to take a 2-1 series lead. And the Socceroos take on Vietnam tonight in a World Cup qualifier. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Glenelg BMW is now open on Brighton Road. Drop in and see Adelaide's newest home for BMW.
Good morning. At Parahills West, got a car fire Main North Road near McIntyre Road inbound. Hillier, cars broken down on the Northern Expressway near Two Wells Road. Crafers and Stirling expect delays in both directions on the freeway for work. Speeds at 60, restrictions apply. And getting busy, Ascot Avenue, Tonkin Street to North East Road. Cameras this morning, Main South Road, Moffat Vale, Mount Barker Road, Hahndorf and Nan Road at Woodside. Hungry? How about a burrito or bowl from Guzmani Gomez for just $9.90? Choose from delicious pulled pork, grilled chicken, slow cooked beef and more, just $9.90 at GYG. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
The all-new Audi Q5 Sportback has arrived. Test drive it today at Audi Solitaire in Hawthorn.
Partly cloudy, 17 today, sunny tomorrow, 22, then up to 24 and sunny on Thursday. Right now it's 12 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Don't miss Olympic Industries whatever the weather sale on now. Visit olympicindustries.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
6 after 7. Going to recap some big stories for you in just a moment. That'll take us all over the globe, from Europe to the US and South America as well. We'll start in the UK in just a moment. First, Raymond's just called us with some information on the traffic. Raymond, good morning to you.
Morning, boys. How are you?
Good, thanks, Raymond. What's going on out there, mate?
South Road, 3-car nose to tail, just north of the intersection of South Road and Furnace Street at Edwardstown, in front of the Red Rooster there. So one lane's totally blocked, and that's the right-hand lane, and the left lane is obviously flowing, but yeah, there's going to be a lot of traffic held up. So yeah, if anybody's heading north along South Road, Edwardstown, and might want to find a different route, maybe Marion Road or Goodwood Road to get past that intersection at Edwardstown.
Good on you, Raymond.
Nose to tail.
Thank you for that.
You got to wonder. Pretty hard to just randomly drive up someone's back, unless maybe you're sending a text message, don't you think?
It's quite possible. Yeah, that tends to be the cause. The moment I hear South Road at this time of morning, I just think, Marion Road will be impossible. As a result of this.
That stretch, it's always like it's like the Bermuda Triangle. You spend, past birthdays there and peek out round the Dawes Road end.
Exactly right. All right, let's head to the UK. Boris Johnson has made his first appearance in the House of Commons since the Taliban took over Afghanistan.
We will judge the Taliban by their actions, not their words, and use every economic, political and diplomatic lever to protect our own countries from harm and to help the Afghan people. Thanks to their efforts, no terrorist attack against this country or any of our Western allies has been launched from Afghanistan for 20 years.
Amazing how quickly the tone has changed. Now the Taliban being spoken about just as a misbehaving government, more so than an organisation that's previously harboured terrorists.
One story that I read yesterday was that a female police officer who was obviously working for the public service under the former government in Afghanistan was bashed and then shot dead by members of the Taliban for being a female police officer. The Taliban itself, though, put out a statement saying, well, if anyone did do this, they're a rogue element within the Taliban and we'll investigate.
Bad Taliban.
Yeah.
They have declared victory in the country over the province of Panjshir, northeast of the capital of Kabul. It was the final pocket of territory which remained outside of their rule. They uploaded a video of them raising a flag there yesterday. Tony Blair has been forthcoming with his thoughts on the current situation as well.
In my view, Islamism, both the ideology and the violence, is a first-order security threat. And unchecked, it will come to us, even if centred far from us, as 9/11 demonstrated.
30 years since 9/11. Oh, sorry, 20 years since 9/11 coming up this Saturday here in Australia, the Sunday for US time. I want to play you a little grab that also came out of British politics in the context of this conversation that I think tells a real story about the kind of debates that are happening within the corridors of power in Western countries right now. This is Tobias Elwood, also from the UK.
We have passed the high watermark of Western liberalism that began after the Second World War. This is a dangerous geopolitical turning point. I ask the Prime Minister, would he agree there is now a void of leadership in the West and NATO?
Void in the leadership of the West and NATO. Of course, that's a question about the United States and the performance of this man.
We completed one of the biggest airlifts in history, with more than 120,000 people evacuated to safety. That number is more than double what most experts thought were possible. No nation has ever done anything like it in all of history.
Yeah, the critics aren't just across the Atlantic. Right now, the critics are within the United States. The latest polling from ABC and the Washington Post finds that Joe Biden's approval slipped to 44%. 60% disapprove of his handling of the Afghanistan situation in particular. The director of ABC News' polling, Gary Langer, has said that in data that dates back to the Harry Truman administration, only 2 presidents have had a lower approval rating at this point in their terms. Only 2.
Staggering, isn't it?
Do you know who? Can you name either?
No, I'll be guessing.
You don't have to go back far for one of them.
Carter?
Donald Trump is
right.
one of them at 37%, and Gerald Ford in March 1975 is the other.
Ford took over from Nixon when Nixon quit before he could be impeached.
Yep.
Carter was all right for a while. It was the Iranian situation that got him in the end. But, gee, Carter looks sort of inspirational compared to Joe Biden, doesn't he?
Yeah. So the 2 least popular presidents to this time in US history, this early in their first term, have been the last 2.
Yeah.
Maybe that tells a story about the United States as well.
Exactly.
Hey, we sometimes are critical of things that look farcical in Australia when it comes to COVID protocols, restrictions, and some of the things that health and medical professionals say. I don't think anything that's happened in this country has approached what transpired on a football pitch in South America yesterday.
Se armó.
What you're hearing is the local commentary trying to make sense of a scene that doesn't make much sense. There was a World Cup qualifier, so the stakes are high. This is Brazil and Argentina, a game that had been going for 7 minutes before the pitch was entered by Brazilian health officials. So this is like the Brazilian SA Health. Went onto the pitch 7 minutes into the game.
Professor Nicolas Burio
from
Rio de Janeiro.
In terms of stakes, and this is like Nicolas Burio walking in 7 minutes into the first quarter on Saturday night during the prelim final, okay?
Port fans might like that. If she says, hey, listen, Marcus, it's come to our attention that, leaving your knee to one side, you haven't been in the sterile corridor all week, you're not allowed to play.
3 Argentine players were the subject of the protest that came. They felt they shouldn't be playing because they allegedly did not reveal they'd recently been in England. Something should have tipped people off before the 7-minute mark of the game, namely that these 3 people play in the English Premier League. 4 members of the squad do. The accusation is that they falsely filled out immigration forms that said they hadn't been in the UK in the last 14 days. It's considered a high-risk spot. So to enter Brazil from the UK, you've got to quarantine for 14 days.
So it's on Argentina then. They should have known.
Well,
they played them in defiance of the rule.
Argentina have played them in defiance of the rule. You can overhear, and presumably he's saying it in Spanish, Lionel Messi on the side is overheard chatting with Brazilian players saying, do you think we've been at the stadium for an hour? They might have said this before the 7-minute mark of the game in a sort of exasperated sense. Interestingly, and it tells you something about football in South America, it would appear that both of the bodies, the Brazilian football and Argentine football, think the match should have just gone ahead. And that was the important thing. But Brazilian health officials that stormed the pitch meant that this match was ultimately suspended and will have to be replayed at a later date.
So there's no winner. So it's just there's no line through it and they reschedule it.
Yeah, it'll be moved later.
They've had wars. They've had wars in Latin America for less than that.
Exactly right.
El Salvador and Honduras in the late 60s.
Totally extraordinary situation. All right, let's check traffic. Is your BMW due for a service? Well, then book your service today at Glenelg BMW on Brighton Road.
Parahurst West got a car fire on Main North Road near McIntyre Road inbound. inbound. Hillier, cars broken down on the Northern Expressway near Two Wells Road, so more on the road, so take care. And Crafers and Stirling expect delays in both directions on the freeway for work. Speeds are at 60 and restrictions apply there as well. Look out for cameras this morning. Aldershot Road, Lonsdale, Ironbank Road, Ironbank, and Onkaparinga Valley Road at Balhanna. Don't miss out on locking in a low home loan interest rate. An Aussie broker can help you refinance your home loan and save money. Book a free appointment today at aussie.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Leon Biner.
In recent months, there has been a series of public revelations of the worsening deficiencies in patient care at the Women's and Children's Hospital. Doctors, nurses, patients have provided evidence to a parliamentary select committee.
9 till 12 weekdays.
Adverse patient outcomes are becoming more common. Do we have to wait for the avoidable death of a child before we see any action?
SSA as Leon Biner. SSA as AA.
Want more chances to win big? The Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery is giving 5 lucky winners $50,000 each in our $50,000 frenzy. Get your tickets by midnight Friday and you could be winning big. Plus, your tickets stay in the draws for the $3 million grand prize, $1 million in bonus prizes and $1 million early bird prize. Hurry, get your tickets at homelottery.com.au.
Licence M14053.
It's the little things that make a big difference to your day, like a thank you email from a colleague or a smile from a stranger on the train. And it can all start here with a healthy, delicious breakfast made with the goodness of Aussie-made Pura milk. It's got 8 essential nutrients and vitamins to kickstart your morning and set you up for the day ahead. So start your day the positive way with Pura.
Now, we've all heard that people are offering more money just to secure a house at the moment. Now, our good mates at Toop and Toop, they've given us some tips for people out there who are trying to get into a rental home but are competing with hundreds of others.
Yep, they say you should go to the very first open inspection because properties are leasing after just one viewing, so there won't be a second chance.
That's right, first come, best dressed, and it also pays to make sure you put your best foot forward when inspecting the property. Check all the information on the application form is complete and the relevant paperwork is attached.
Now, they've also said don't forget to list all of the people who are going to live in the house. And if you've got pets, just be upfront and honest about it. Are you having trouble finding a rental property? Well, sign up at toop.com.au/registration and you'll be the first to receive alerts for properties as soon as they go online.
Hi, Hearing Australia.
Oh, hi. I'd like to inquire about hearing aids, please.
Okay, well, it sounds like you're having a ball, so I'll be quick. For over 70 years, Hearing Australia has helped 1 million Australians with hearing loss discover the secret to celebrating the sounds they love.
Oh, a secret? What is it?
Well, our range includes hearing aids that can be so discreet people probably won't realise you're wearing one. And for eligible pensioners under the Hearing Services Program, there are 3 device choices to choose from that are free and will care for your hearing for life.
Oh, I like the sound of that. Oh.
Hearing Australia. Discover the secret to celebrating sound in your life. Call 134 432 or 134 HERE today.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
For verandas, sheds, garages or carports, don't miss Olympic Industries Whatever the Weather sale on now. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
18 minutes after 7.
You can taste the golden days in every Golden North ice cream and make any day a golden day.
Pretty much every single time Golden North's been mentioned on this program over the course of the last 4 years, it's been because they've just been crowned best ice cream in Australia. In fact, they've they're happening again this year. It's 4 years running. Unfortunately, today, though, it's because they are the victims of a crime. 2 thieves stole hundreds of ice creams. The majority of the stock set for show bags for the Royal Show. They stole it from Nailsworth. Crime was discovered around 7:30 Monday morning when an employee saw the door to the company's commercial fridge had been broken into, left open. We've spoken with Sapol earlier about the footage that reveals that a couple of people turned up with Sulo bins and stole a whole bunch of the stock. Trevor Pomeroy is the Director of Marketing and International Exports and joins us on 5AA Breakfast now. Trevor, good morning to you.
We're good, thanks, Trevor. That line sounds a little bit scratchy. We'll persevere. Hopefully it's okay. What on earth did these people want with all that ice cream, and how could they have kept it from melting?
Well, they probably figured that it's won a few awards, they'd get some for themselves. But they didn't want to pay for it. And yes, ice cream does melt very quickly out of a freezer, even at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Well, it's just staggering, and it's a significant financial hit for you guys too, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not just the ice cream they stole. It's because they completely ruined the door of we've got a walk-in freezer, and they completely ruined the door. So everything that was left in the freezer had thawed out and had to be dumped.
So, Trevor, I mean, just give us a sense of the layout here. Did these people, had they been past before and knew what they were doing, like they'd scoped it out? Or is it possible it was just by chance they were walking past and they were able to get to this area?
We really don't know. Yes, the freezer has been tampered with before, and we changed all the lock systems and all that on it to stop that from happening. But this time they had a steel pole and they virtually levered the door open and smashed the locking mechanism.
And it was a man and a woman, and they were walking a dog. Is that correct?
I can't be sure that it's a man and a woman, to be honest. But yes, they were definitely walking a dog.
Hey, we're just playing the footage that SAPOL have obtained on our 5AA Facebook and YouTube live stream at the moment. Trevor, it sounds like it's thousands of dollars worth of stock that you've lost. I don't know what the equivalent cost of advertising in 5AA Breakfast is, but just say whatever the hell you want about Golden ice cream for a moment. It'll be the least we can do for you.
Look, we appreciate all the support we've got from the media and from our friends on Facebook. And let me just say, anybody who wants to buy one of the show bags will be back in business tomorrow, because we've got more stock coming down late today, and we'll be ready to rock and roll. And, you know, maybe we should stay in Laura. It's nice and safe up there.
Yeah, that's right. I can't remember the last time we reported on 5AA about a Laura crime wave.
No, I wouldn't have thought so.
Have you taken much of a hit from the show itself being cancelled, Trevor? Because we know I got to say, my go-to place there, apart from the gardening pavilion, is the dairy pavilion. I love getting in there and grabbing a couple of giant twins for the kids or some honey ice cream for myself.
The Royal Show is the one time of the year that we retail, because we don't run shops. And our stand in the dairy hall, behind the hall, we've got a 20-foot freezer container, like what you see on ships. We fill that up 2 or 3 days before the show and then have to top it up halfway through. So, yes, we sell a lot of ice cream at the Royal Show. But it's also, for us, it's a great way to get feedback directly from consumers.
Yeah.
And, look, we have launched the product because of what people told us at the Royal Show.
Well, things like Giant Twins, it's a relatively new line, isn't it, for Golden North?
Oh, I'm sorry, but no.
Isn't it?
Giant Twins have been around since the 1950s.
Have they really?
But we have just done a whole bunch of new flavours.
Yeah, right. We had a text before about your lime flavour.
One that we had years and years ago in a 2-litre tub, and that was the product that people at the Royal Show kept asking for, so we brought it back.
Yeah, right. Oh, it's good feedback.
That's good stuff. Well, Trevor, mate, we hope they catch up with these crims for you so you don't have to deal with any of this sort of mischief in the future. And we appreciate your time this morning.
They should have smiled for the cameras, shouldn't they?
They should. Those cameras might just be the undoing of them. Trevor Pomeroy is the Director of Marketing and International Exports for Golden North. 4 years running, Golden North.
Great South Australian success story.
Let's hope a byproduct of them being the victims of a crime is that people listen to this and today go, I'm going to go out and buy some Golden North ice cream.
I'm going to get some.
I'm getting hungry as we speak.
What about the Giant Twin? Been around that long? I totally thought it started in the 80s. I remember eating the honey out of the pots in the 70s, but not the Giant Twin. There you go.
All right, 23 minutes after 7. Let's turn our attention to sport. Time's valuable. Ensure your vehicle receives rapid, accurate service with North Point Toyota Express Maintenance. That is the North Point way. Last night, Rowie had Graham Corns on the program, and they talked about Lockie Neal's imminent departure from the Brisbane Lions.
Lockie Neal.
Yeah.
He's got 2 years to run his deal. He broke his contract at Fremantle to get to the Lions. Now he wants to do the reverse.
It's hard to speak critically about Lockie Neal because he's an ornament to the game.
He's a ripper.
He plays the game the way the game should be played. He gets the hard ball, and he's won a Brownlow medal, and he's a couple of All-Australians. But a contract, I heard you before, contract is a contract.
Of course it is.
Like if both parties are agreeable, but bear in mind, Brisbane gave up 2 first-round draft picks to get him.
Gave up the world to get him.
Which not many people would have thought he was worth 2 first-round draft pick when he first went to. But it's proved to be a good deal. There's no doubt about that, and they've played in finals. But look, I think there's a principle perhaps here. Yeah. Girls marry footballers. And maybe they pursue them, I don't know, but the footballers have a certain attraction to them. You're going to have to do that with your eyes wide open, that maybe you do have to go to the other side of the country. I don't want to sound heartless, because when you're pregnant and you've got young kids, you need the support of your mum and there's no doubt about that. So
it's a delicate one.
But it's a business first. It's not it's not a charity. It's a business first, and the Brisbane Lions may not have heard about it.
That's Lachie Neale, Brownlow medalist, star of the game.
Surely Cornsey just wants to get him back to Glenelg.
I think he'd like to come back to South Australia.
How many touches would he get if he played for the Bays?
I think if sport internationally is anything of a lesson, I don't think there's a mechanism by which we can start preventing players from demanding trades and wanting to get out, irrespective of how long they've got to run on contracts. I think, if anything, it'll become more prevalent. I think the contract now represents more opportunity for the player to enshrine a wage for a period of time and protect them against things like injury than it does actually protect the club from them demanding ultimately to move on anytime soon. So I understand the frustrations of fans. I'm not sure what you do in this circumstance to prevent it.
No,
it's just part and parcel of where you're at. If a club like, I mean, they're a good test for this, because if a club like Brisbane, top 4, chance to play for a premiership, can't retain a star player who they're willing to pay whatever it takes, and they have, and can't prevent him going for a side outside the top 8 with far worse prospects, then we've got to accept there are things sometimes more than money in football that matter to people.
100%.
So I'm not sure there's much you can do about it beyond, say, there just needs to be a process by which they can get fair compensation.
Yeah.
Now,
but you can't keep people manacled to a job when their personal circumstances change. I think.
That's right. Now, as a fan, as a football fan, certainly one of a club that's seen their fair share of players leave, there needs to be enough fluidity in the marketplace with players and picks and all sorts of other things to make sure that you can get fair compensation.
I remember having a coffee with Patrick Dangerfield down at Henley Square at that Chocolat place the week of the BNF, the year that he left, and I'd got to know him well because he was a regular on the breakfast show, and he said, "Look, Pam, I just want to tell you, I'm announcing it this week. I'm leaving, and it's." Just so you know, so you can plan your coverage and all of that. And we talked about what he was going to say in his speech at the BNF, because he didn't want to sound like he was just walking out and dumping the club. And he had no animosity or ill will towards the club, but he did this thing. He said, I'll give you the short answer why I'm doing this. He called up Google Maps, and he's with his fingers, thumb and forefinger, zoom, zoom, zoom. He said, see that? That's called Moggs Creek. And he said, that street there, that's where my cousin lives. The end of that street, that's where my other cousin lives. And see this block? This is where me and Marty were building a house. And it's like, that's the perfect explanation for why you're doing it.
The thing is, though, the thing these players have to be careful of next time they want to sit down and negotiate how much of the TV revenue pie they get and how much they get of the whole thing when they do their CBA and sit down with the AFL is, if you establish a precedent that contracts don't matter and I'll demand a trade and I'll go here or there, I've signed for 4 years but I want to leave after 2, the AFL will likely pursue, I suspect, what we see in the United States especially, a process of saying, well, you guys get paid a lot of money and you are the product. We now don't need to ask your permission to trade you places.
Yeah. Okay.
Which happens in the US sport. So it'll cut both ways.
Fully mercenary.
Exactly. If players start saying contracts don't matter, the AFL will go, fine. We can go down that path because fans love it. Fans much prefer that because it's easy to get value for Lachie Neale if everyone at Fremantle's available. Right now, you've got to convince someone from Freo to go to Brisbane. So they've just got to be careful because it'll cut both ways. Now, that was Stephen Rowe Sports Show. Time's valuable. Ensure your vehicle receives rapid, accurate service with North Point Toyota Express Maintenance. It is the North Point way.
Taking time to listen can make all the difference. Farrell & O'Neill Funerals is a South Australian family company committed to guiding and supporting families at an emotional time. We value a lifetime by offering a compassionate, caring and unique service with attention to the smallest detail. Finding guidance through a difficult time can be comforting. Farrell and O'Neill Funerals, 8296 3134.
Oscar, Penny, Hercules, Horatio.
If dogs are a part of your family, you'll want to keep your family protected.
Jasmine, Jenny, Harley.
Simparica Trio gives dogs fast and effective protection from fleas and ticks, deadly heartworm and intestinal worms. A simple monthly chew that keeps your dog safe from deadly parasites inside and out.
Who wants to go for a walk?
So if you're a dog person, you'll want Simparica Trio. Protection from fleas, ticks, intestinal worms and heartworm.
3 words your friends and family never like hearing.
We're moving house.
Oh, you got it in one, David.
We are moving house. Now, look, this is where budget car and truck rental, a lot of people think they're just renting cars and trucks. Not
No.
so. They're keeping friendships together.
Yes.
They're keeping families intact.
Exactly right.
And look, don't worry, if your friends and family are over helping you move, well, you can always rely on budget car and truck rentals to help you out.
And think of Lockie Neal. You reckon he can call up a teammate and say, come on, we want to move my sofa?
Are you doing anything on the weekend? I need to drive from Brisbane to Fremantle.
Not happening, but
Yeah,
budget
exactly.
car and truck rentals won't say no. From 3-ton moving trucks you can drive on a car licence to vans and moving trailers, budget car and truck rentals make it easy as to move house.
Do they ever? And possibly the best part about using budget car and truck rentals is that you won't owe your friends and family a house move in return.
Do it right in half the time and save money with budget car and truck rentals. Adelaide Airport, City, Marston, Salisbury and Ranella. Call 132727. That's 13 27 27.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy 17 today with the 7:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
The X in Physio Extra stands for extra time, extra care, extra convenience with 6 locations. Visit physioextra.com.
Armfuls of Nike clothing have been taken from a sports store in the western suburbs during an early morning break-in. The front window of the shop on Grange Road at Findon was smashed around 1 a.m. Senior Constable Rebecca Stokes says the hunt for the 2 offenders continues.
Anyone who saw any suspicious activity in Findon last night, these 2 possibly left in a vehicle, contact Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
And jewellery has been taken from an antiques dealer at Glenelg. 2 display cabinets were smashed just before 5 this morning. A driver's had to be cut from his vehicle following a 2-car crash at Ingle Farm. The Ford and Hyundai came together on Nelson Road shortly before 7 last night. The 31-year-old is in a stable condition in hospital. His injuries are not considered life-threatening. A woman and child also involved escaped with minor injuries. A crackdown on hoons over the past 2 months has seen 744 cars impounded. 235 drivers have already paid out fines totalling more than $248,000 to get their cars back. Many of them are repeat offenders. And Road Safety Minister Vincent Tarzia says 6 vehicles have been seized.
5 cars have been crushed while 1 other will be destroyed. It's a message that, if your car is impounded, you have to pay the fine or you'll be catching the bus. And look, sadly, pocket pain is the only punishment that will sink in for some of these people.
The State Transition Committee will meet today. On the agenda is density limits at hospitality venues and caps at private gatherings. There are no COVID cases in the community in SA. A fresh appeal is being made for Sydney siders to be vaccinated this week following the release of COVID modelling. Nine's Clinton Maynard reports.
Chief Health Officer Dr Kerry Chan says this week needs to be the week for the biggest vaccination push yet. She says that's the key to avoiding what she's described as scary hospitalisation forecasts. Independent modelling predicts the number of people needing hospital treatment next month could triple, and ICUs will be under overwhelming pressure with up to 560 COVID patients. However, Dr Chan says numbers that high could be avoided if the vaccination take-up is even faster. She says it's possible to reach the target of 80% for at least 1 dose this week.
The Taliban is claiming victory over the final pocket of resistance in Afghanistan. Nine's Alison Petrowski reports.
The Taliban is posting videos on social media of their white flag being raised in Panjshir following a fortnight of fierce fighting with the resistance group. However, the resistance is denying the province has been conquered, saying they continue to fight. The US government confirmed that it has helped 4 Americans to escape through an overland route to a neighbouring country, the first land extraction since US troops left Afghanistan. Meanwhile, former UK Prime Minister Tony Blair says the withdrawal of US troops will embolden the West's enemies.
Islamism, both the ideology and the violence, is a first-order security threat, and unchecked, it will come to us, even if centred far from us, as 9/11 demonstrated.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
3 words make a big difference to our local dairy farmers. Flurio Milk Company. In your supermarket now.
It's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Port Adelaide says it's well aware it needs to start the game well against the Bulldogs on Saturday night. The Power have been sluggish in opening quarters often this season, and assistant coach Nathan Bassett has told Rowie and Cornsey they can't afford to give up goals early on.
You can get caught starting slow if you haven't played. Or you're coming off a bye. The positives, I think, our last game, we certainly had a better start against Geelong than what we had.
Bulldog skipper Marcus Bontempelli has been cleared of major structural damage to his knee. Let's go to tennis. Alexander Zverev's into the US Open quarter-finals after beating promising teenager Jannik Sinner 6-4, 6-4, 6-1. Zverev will now take on South Africa's Lloyd Harris in the quarters. Bilinka Benkic was too strong for Iga Swiatek in straight sets, winning the first set in a tiebreak 14-12. Meantime, Emma Raducanu is through after beating Shelby Rogers in straight sets. To golf now, and Team Europe has reclaimed the Solheim Cup in Ohio after a stirring win against Team USA. Finnish golfer Matilda Castren draining the winning putt to secure the Europeans the win.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. What heart, what courage.
The Europeans celebrate a Solheim Cup, which they really didn't think they could. Well, they thought they could win, but many of us thought would be just a step too far without any support.
Yeah, an incredible effort. That is the Ryder Cup equivalent, Mel. Fantastic performance. That is the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Is your BMW due for a service? Then book your service today at Glenelg BMW on Brighton Road.
And it was down this morning, got a 3-car crash on South Road near Rail Avenue. That is as you're heading inbound, causing a few delays. Parahills West got a car fire at Main North Road near McIntyre Road. Be aware of that one this morning. And we've got a car broken down at Hillier. That's on the Northern Expressway near Two Wells Road. Some more on the road too as well. Take care there. Cravers and Stirling expect delays both directions on the freeway for work. Speeds at 60. And cameras this morning, Main South Road, Morford Vale and Regency Road at Happy Valley. Behind every great home, there's a tradie with an average of 1 job posted every 20 seconds. Find your next client on High Pages today. Behind every great home, there's High Pages. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
The all-new Audi Q5 Sportback has arrived. Test drive it today at Audi Solitaire in Hawthorn.
Partly cloudy 17 today, sunny tomorrow 22, Thursday sunny 24. Right now it's 12 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
How far would you go for your dream kitchen? And how far would you go to get 25% off? How about 15 minutes up the freeway to Balhanna Kitchens by Design? To the largest showroom in the Adelaide Hills. Custom build your dream with our award-winning designers. And get 25% off your cabinets with laminate bench tops. For a limited time, of course. Balhanna Kitchens by Design. It's not too far to go to make your dream a reality. balhannakitchens.com.au.
The new BT50 Ute is finally here at Paradise Mazda, and it's worth the wait. The BT50's all-new drivetrain and engine has been engineered for toughness and reliability. With an array of driver assist technologies and the most advanced Mazda BT50 safety features ever, the new BT50 is the complete package. So get in and be one of the first to test drive the all-new Mazda BT50 at Paradise Mazda. The Mazda people. 738 Lower North East Road, Paradise. LVD 1370.
For verandas, sheds, garages or carports, don't miss Olympic Industries Whatever the Weather sale on now. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
22 minutes to 8, just repeating that breaking news out of Victoria. Matthew Guy is the leader of the Liberal Party in Victoria. There was a spill motion that was carried 20-11. He was then elected uncontested as the leader, replacing Michael O'Brien. Phil Curry from the Australian Financial Review was watching it all unfold. Phil, good morning to you.
Morning, fellas.
Page 14 all day, this story, isn't it, Phil?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, opposition leadership still in Victoria. Look, it just goes to the volatility of politics. I mean, Matthew Guy was the leader who got absolutely smashed by Dan Andrews in the last Victorian election in 2018, if you remember. That was the election which, sent shockwaves through the federal coalition at the time. But in the end, it ended up being good for the federal coalition because voters in Victoria took all their anger out on the state Liberals, and that sort of helped stabilise things for Scott Morrison there a few months later. So, look, they're a terrible opposition down there. They have been for a long time. They haven't laid a glove on Andrews throughout this whole pandemic. And they've sort of got nearly every step of it along the way wrong. And, certainly there's been things to work with down there. So it's just out of desperation they've gone back to Matthew Guy. So I'm not sure, who knows? There's not an election in Victoria till the end of next year, 22. So
is there a broader lesson in this that sort of goes to things like social media and broader questions about how people behave in the modern era, Phil? Because it feels like the opposition there has fallen foul of the temptation to be relentlessly negative, to make public statements that are often contradictory, where they've said, we're going too hard, we're going too slow, we need to open up, we need to close down. And then also a lot of really juvenile tweeting as well about, here's a survey that the Victorian Liberals are putting out, should we call him Comrade Dan or Chairman Dan? They've sort of looked like
it was real uni politics.
Student politics, yeah, totally.
Yeah, it was. And there's a lot of that these days, state and federal, because so many politicians just go through the school of, university politics, law degree parliament, and we see it all over the place. But yeah, they were a good example of it down there. Look, it was strange last year because when Victoria had its big lockdown, there were clearly errors the government made back then. The contact tracing error and everything else, and they weren't being properly held to account by the media down there or others, and they were getting away with a fair bit. And you saw this week, Jenny Mikakos, the former Victorian Health Minister, who's starting to open up on a few secrets and demand a royal commission into what, happened. And the opposition down there sort of couldn't get their line and length, because there was just such this love affair with Dan Andrews amongst the voters. They went negative and it didn't work for them. But opposition's a mugs game at the best of times, but in the times of a national crisis, you've seen Anthony Albanese sort of trying to walk try and find the right line and length. When do you have to be critical? When do you have to be supportive? But you layer on top of that, they're just a bad outfit down there. They're pretty pathetic. And I don't think they'll pose much of a threat at the next election. Although, having said that, you just don't know what the next year holds.
Speaking of elections, Phil, some wild rumours around the place in the last 48 hours about a federal election being much closer than most people, I imagine, would be anticipating. What are you hearing?
Oh, look, this has been kicking around for a while, Will. The spectre of maybe we'll go to an election before Christmas if we hit that 80% vaccination rate, look, to be honest, it's mainly coming from Labor. Labor people have been putting it around, and some people have been worried about it because they think Morrison might want to go early before. There's a few of them in Labor still not confident Albo is going to win the election, and they think they might. Morrison might be going before they can knock him off. Now, there's no move to knock him off, but there's still some people in the party who think that way. But look, I would doubt it. I just think if the federal government went to election this side of Christmas, they'd get killed because you'd be fighting the premiers as much as you'd be fighting the federal opposition. And, the ideal scenario for them is we get to 80% vaccines, we push above that over Christmas, we come out the other side in summer and things are a lot calmer and, life on the East Coast is sort of some semblance of normal, and then then Morrison could sort of switch the focus to fixing the economy, which would be his back into his strength. So that's their sort of plan A as a March election. But you never know, just don't know what will happen.
We saw overnight, Phil, that Mark McGowan, latest thought bubble, he's now saying maybe we need to get 90% before Western Australia opens up.
Yeah, look, a few of them are thinking, look, he'll just do what he's going to do, Dave. You just can't, sort of control WA, never been able to. I don't think they're a huge, unless you're from Western Australia and you've got family there, apart from that, it's not a huge problem, for them just to lock themselves up and keep digging up iron ore and helping the national economy. But it's more a problem on the East Coast if you don't have like Queensland and states like that sort of reintegrating back into the Federation.
So we just need to basically pretend that Western Australia doesn't exist anymore.
Well, like we normally do, yeah. I mean, with Sydney and Melbourne shut down, the WA economy is very important. If this thing got into the Pilbara and they had to shut that down, this country would just be even worse trouble than it is now. So, look, McGowan's just going to do what McGowan's always going to do, what Western Australian premiers always do. Right? And the only thing that will make him change his mind is pressure from within WA. The more you sort of lecture the guy from without, he just gets more stubborn, and that's been the case with WA since Federation. But there will come a time, and it's starting, business leaders in WA like Kerry Stokes and Andrew Forrest and people like that, and just civilians who want to see. I've got a friend in WA, she's from Queensland, hadn't seen her mum for 2 years, Eventually, people are going to say enough's enough. I want to travel. They'll be watching flights going from Sydney and Melbourne to Los Angeles, and I say, why can't we travel overseas? And these sorts of things. And he'll just have to come around eventually. But I think you just ignore the bloke. Is the best. He's looking for a reaction, and you just don't give him one.
Yeah, for sure.
Good on you, Phil. Phil Curry from the Australian Financial Review. 16-8. The way he's going, by the end of the week, Mark McGowan will be suggesting they need to get 120%.
Yeah.
120% of vaccination.
Yeah, people who haven't been born yet.
That's right. 15 minutes to 8, reasonable target. We've hit our target when it comes to healthcare heroes, I can tell you, with our wonderful sponsor, Avanti Care. We're now at the stage where we've started to hear the stories. Jane Riley catching up with Nick Swingler, who is the winner of our Allied Health category.
From the mighty Double Blues.
This is fantastic.
And I'm not a judge.
I know.
I'm not a judge.
You should put your hands up. You had nothing
if
to do with
I
this.
was, I would have voted for this guy, though.
Stop talking, David.
Head trainer at Sturt.
I advise you to withdraw. Big thanks to everyone who did nominate, and indeed to all of our healthcare heroes. But here is Jane with Nick.
Well, today I'm here in the league change room of the Sturt Football Club room, a great space, and I'm standing right next door to the head trainer of the Sturt Football Club, who's been in that role for 42 years, Nick Swingler. Nick, congratulations, because of part of our healthcare heroes, you have taken out the title in the category Allied Health.
Thank you, Jane. Firstly, welcome to Sturt. Yeah, look, really pleased, really stoked with the award, and thank you to the person who nominated me for it as well. So I'm really pleased that this has shone a spotlight on sports trainers in particular, and the work that sports trainers do in community sports clubs right across the state every day of the week.
You've made a huge commitment to a large group of people over 42 years. What's your passion and what keeps driving you to come back here nearly every day of the week?
I think because I've never felt over the last 42 years where there hasn't been a great deal of respect from the playing group. I think that's what keeps coming me back, the fact that I know I'm helping somebody and that they're appreciative of what we do for them as well.
Today we're rewarding your role with a lovely cheque for $1,000 from Avanti Care, who are principal sponsors. But the rewards for you are every day when you're out there helping those young people train.
Yeah, well, look, that's the primary part of the job for sports trainers. It's not about, we're very much the backroom people in footy clubs. So something like this is a really fantastic acknowledgement of the work that sports trainers do.
Well, Nick, even though I'm definitely a Port girl, I'm very proud of you, and I know that David Penberthy will be blown out of the water when he hears that you are the winner of the category Allied Health in our Healthcare Heroes. And here we have the cheque. It's the biggest cheque I've ever seen. Congratulations. This is thanks to Avanti Care. Your cheque for $1,000.
Thank you very much. Thank you to FIVEaa and thank you to Avanti Care.
Yeah, looking forward to hearing Jane catching up with more of our Avanti Care healthcare heroes over the course of the coming weeks.
Very deserved winner.
Yep, absolutely. They all are.
They are.
All right, let's check traffic thanks to Glenelg BMW. They're now open on Brighton Road. Drop in and see Adelaide's newest home for BMW.
At Woodstown, got a three-car collision, South Road near Raglan Avenue inbound. Parahua's West, car fire there, Main North Road near McIntyre Road inbound. Hillier, a car's broken down on the Northern Expressway near Two Walls Road. Got some oil on the road there, so take care. And Crafers and Sterling, expect delays in both directions on the freeway for works. Restrictions apply. Speeds are dropped down to 60 at the moment too. Look out for cameras on Cabringa Valley Road, Balhanna and Nan Road at Woodside. The Suicide Squad, starring our very own Margot Robbie. This is the epic supervillain film of the year. Fast track from cinemas to your home. The Suicide Squad, new to buy or rent on digital now. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Hello, I'm Lynn Andrews. For over 50 years, the team at Lynn Andrews Real Estate have made it easy to manage residential and commercial property. Whether you own a single residential home or multiple commercial properties, our passion for property investment means we have a great deal of knowledge to share. How to invest safely and properly. Matching the right tenant with the right property every time. We're here to help. Visit lynandrews.com.au.
Want more chances to win big? The Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery is giving 5 lucky winners $50,000 each in our $50,000 frenzy. Get your tickets by midnight Friday and you could be winning big. Plus, your tickets stay in the draws for the $3 million grand prize, $1 million in bonus prizes and $1 million early bird prize. Hurry, get your tickets at homelottery.com.au.
Licence M14053.
Now, there's nothing more South Australian than having each other's backs.
That's right. We love this story. When the Royal Adelaide show was cancelled, it left the South Australian Country Women's Association in a tough spot. They were about to miss a crucial fundraising event with hundreds of kilos of jam made just for the show on their hands and unsold.
Well, Foodland heard about this.
The mighty South Aussie.
That's right.
Yeah.
They certainly prove they are the mighty South Aussie, yeah. They stepped up to support them by purchasing the jam and then generously donating it back. So thanks to Foodland...
Money for jam.
Money for jam. The jam will now be sold to fundraise at the Adelaide Central Markets up until Saturday the 11th of September. So there's still a chance to try delicious SA-made jam and scones.
Every purchase supports a not-for-profit that served the community and supported women and children since 1929. Their motto is sharing and caring with actions.
So invite a friend for jam and scones. Support the South Australian Country Women's Association at the Adelaide Central Market in the community kitchen area until Saturday the 11th of September.
Hi, it's Eddie May from NRG Solar. Did you know solar is still the cheapest form of power in South Australia? So if you're not going solar, you're paying too much for your electricity. Jump on board now before the government rebates fall again at the end of December. Act now and you can save thousands of dollars on a typical system tailor-made for you. If you wait until next year, those savings simply won't be there. Get in touch today. Visit nrgsolar.com.au because solar is all we do.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Don't miss Olympic Industries Whatever the Weather sale on now. Visit olympicindustries.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
9 minutes to 8. We'll get to some more of your texts on the Telstra Storm Mount Barker text line in just a moment. But first, we turn our attention to the weather. Jessica Braithwaite from 9 News joins us. Morning to you, Jessica.
Morning, guys. How are you going?
Going well. I'm a bit excited about the next few days, particularly tomorrow's looking pretty sunny all day, isn't it?
It's looking really good. I reckon the best way to think about this week, it's a ladder. So say we take one step up further with the weather, it gets a little bit warmer and a little bit sunnier, and by the end of the week, we are just sitting pretty. So I'll take you through it. Today's okay, nothing too inspiring about today, 17 degrees. It's calm, it's fine, it's not going to rain, it's not going to cause anyone any problems, so that'll be fine. Tomorrow, you're right, it's when things start to get really sweet. So 22 degrees, nice and sunny, a cool start, but yeah, really lovely clear skies. Thursday, we step up and 24 degrees, absolutely lovely, sunny skies, calm, not a drop of rain in sight. And then Friday, another step up to a gorgeous sunny 25 degrees. Now, the only thing I have to say, it's a bit like last week. You know, we had all that really nice weather during the weekend, and the weekend it turned a little bit iffy, and it's a bit like that this time as well. Saturday, I'll have to be honest, the guidance is a bit all over the place for Saturday. The models aren't quite agreeing with each other yet, and I'm watching it closely because I know we've got the Port game on Saturday night. So, look, at the moment, I wouldn't rule out a shower. It's certainly going to be a bit cooler. They've got 19 degrees at the moment. Sorry if you can hear my little girl Joni there making a little cameo appearance. She was budding weather forecast.
We always love the baby cameos. Yeah, they're always good.
Yeah, she just wanted to chip in about the Port game.
Is she a Port supporter?
She will be on Saturday night. But yeah, so 19. Well, I'm gonna fine tune that Saturday forecast when I check back in later in the week. We'll see how that one's looking, but certainly cooler. And then on Sunday, down to 17 degrees. So yeah, a few showers around over the weekend, but it looks like it could start to fine up again early next week.
Beautiful. Good on you, Jessica. Thank you for that. Jessica Braithwaite from 9 News. It's 7 to 8, and it's time for John Blake, thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast, 13 13 64.
Now, the latest news with Wallace Fogg.
Good morning, early risers. This is Wallace Fogg with another 5AA news update. The Nadia Bartel scandal continues, with the social media influencer saying that she's remorseful following the posting of her snorting a white powder with a gathering of friends, which some have speculated may have been nothing more than glucose, which is used to simulate cocaine in the movie industry. Considering the fact that she's apologised for her actions suggests that it wasn't glucose, but something more sinister, and she says she is now going to strive to make better life choices in the future. One of those choices being to make sure her idiot friends don't video her snorting cocaine off a cheap plate. A warning from experts this week saying that online and phone scams are still a threat, and more so at this time of the year. A spokesman from Scamwatch has warned that scammers are impersonating the ATO, superannuation funds, and also, more recently, politicians. The latest scam involving allegedly two men called Craig Kelly and Clive Palmer, who are going around pretending to be politicians. They send out text messages purporting to be working in your best interests, but Scamwatch has warned that if you fall for it and actually vote for them, you run the risk of being devastatingly disappointed. It's also obviously a scam because when you try to reply to the text message, it doesn't work. Like all good scams, something can look legitimate, but when you drill down into it, it turns out they're just in it for themselves. And finally this morning, Extinction Rebellion spokesman David Bronken has announced another protest against climate change this weekend. He said the protest is designed to urge the Australian government and governments everywhere to stop mucking around and once and for all make it a priority to find another planet to live on, because this one is complete crap. He said we need somewhere for our grandchildren to live that hasn't been ruined by humans. What we need is a young planet that's perfect for supporting life, and our grandchildren need to live there and never dig anything up or build anything because we don't want them ruining the atmosphere on another one. And that's the news for this Tuesday. I'm Wallace Fogg. More 5AA news coming up at 8 o'clock, or as close as we can get.
On your Wallace. More from John Blake after 8:30 when we go behind closed doors.
Speaking of scams, how's this? I've been pining for my Hilux. I've got a new Toyota Kluger, which is a impeccably made car, perfect family car. But it's got one key problem. When I'm carrying a large pile of green waste, I can't walk past the car and insert the green waste in the back of the Kluger. And the other day I was just absent-minded started Googling through carsales.com, second-hand Hiluxes, thinking maybe I'll just buy an old one. So, and they hold their value, Hiluxes, because they're great cars. I saw a brand new SR5, which is the top-of-the-range one, listed for 15 grand. So I thought, that can't be right. So I emailed the person. She said, yeah, it's all legit. She said, the only thing is I work on an oil rig off Darwin, and what you have to do is transfer the money to an eBay account, and then I'll put the Hilux on a flatbed truck, and I'll send it down to Adelaide. There's a 2-week cooling off period. And I said, well, can I, this is all via email, and I said, can you give me your phone number and we can have a chat about it? She said, no, I can't because there's no reception here on the oil rig in the middle of the Arafura Sea.
Red flag.
Yeah, and then I said, oh, actually, my brother-in-law's in Darwin. He could come and have a look at the car. She said, no, unfortunately, the car's not in a position where you can see it, but it will arrive provided you transfer the 15 grand to this eBay account. And in the end, I said, oh, look, this all sounds a little bit complicated. I might just leave it. And she said, I can assure you it's not a scam. And I wrote back saying, yeah, no, I certainly wasn't suggesting that.
No.
15 grand for an SR5. Sounds too good to be true, eh?
Maybe it just is. 2 to 8.
You could easily be living the life, but you'll need to be quick. The 19th at West is selling premium 2, 3 and 4 bedroom architecturally designed homes from just $730K. Stunning homes with a stunning lifestyle. Explore West's green pathways, paddle on the iconic lake, swim at Grange Beach, or play around at the Grange Golf Club. Start building now and move in next year. Hurry, from $730K, they'll sell fast. Visit the19thwest.com.au.
Schools, councils and businesses all over South Australia choose Leader Computers. For very important reasons, Leader is local and exceptional value. No matter what happens, Leader can be on site to fix your problem. No overseas or interstate call centres to deal with. Plus, Leader Computers is a 100% owned and operated South Australian company offering fast same-day delivery and setup. That's why so many organisations rely on Leader. Google Leader Computers to find your closest Leader reseller.
When you die, who gets what? Will your kids or relatives argue over your estate? Will your beneficiaries be protected? Will your estate be tax effective? Will your wishes be respected and carried out? Speak with Donlan Lawyers now for peace of mind. Donlan Lawyers for wills and estate planning. Visit donlanlawyers.com. That's donlanlawyers.com.
5AA's Business Lounge with Leith Forest.
So what does a vine change at Barossa Village mean for people who are thinking about a retirement lifestyle in the Barossa Valley? Well, to tell us more, here's Barossa Village CEO Simon Newbold. Simon, welcome.
Thanks, Leith. With the world-famous Barossa, there are many things for people to engage with. We have the art, we have fine food, we have fantastic wine, and we have the whole Barossa region where people can live independently in a beautiful home.
Sounds amazing. So why choose Barossa Village?
Well, with current real estate prices at an all-time high, it's a great way to maybe sell from Adelaide, move to the Barossa, use your money to just enjoy life while living in a beautiful 3, 2 or 1 bedroom home. 3 bedrooms units start from just over 300,000 and they're architecturally designed and will support everybody's wishes.
If you'd like to find out more, visit the Barossa Village website, see the units available for sale, what is on and the services provided. That's barossavillage.org.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy 17 today with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Woken with a stiff neck or sore back? Get a Physio Extra appointment today. 6 locations, physioextra.com.
Labor claims the Prime Minister has exercised poor judgment by travelling to Sydney for Father's Day. Scott Morrison was given an exemption by the ACT Chief Health Officer to travel from Canberra to see his family in Sydney. He returned to the capital yesterday morning so he could attend a national security meeting. But the opposition's Bill Shorten has told Nine it's a bit rich when other people are struggling to see their families.
It's not that he doesn't deserve to see his kids, but so does every other Australian. And I think that when your people are doing it tough, you've got to do it tough too. I know that for a lot of MPs, when we leave Canberra, we've got to spend 2 weeks locked down away from our families.
The State Transition Committee will meet today. On the agenda is density limits at hospitality venues and caps at private gatherings. There are no COVID cases in the community in South Australia. 744 cars have been seized during a 2-month blitz on Hoon drivers. 5 have been crushed and another is awaiting destruction. 235 vehicles have been returned after their owners forked out almost $250,000 in fines. Road Safety Minister Vincent Tarzia says dangerous driving will not be tolerated.
So on average we've seen 12 cars impounded every day over the past 2 months. Luckily for the rest of us, those drivers now need to think about their behaviour. They need to think about finding another mode of transport.
An antiques dealer at Glenelg has been targeted in an early morning robbery. Cabinets were smashed and jewellery taken during the break-in, while a front window was broken at a Findon sports store overnight and clothing stolen. The hunt for the offenders continues. There's been some movement in Victorian politics this morning. Matthew Guy is once again the opposition leader following a spill. Michael O'Brien didn't contest, so there was no vote. The UK will provide a safe and legal route for up to 20,000 people from Afghanistan over the coming years. The British Prime Minister is launching a new resettlement program that will offer individuals 5-year visas. Boris Johnson says it will also include civilians who face a particular risk from the Taliban.
We are upholding Britain's finest tradition of welcoming those in need. And I emphasise that under this scheme we will of course work with the UN and aid agencies to identify those we should help, as we have done in respect of those who fled the war in Syria.
Meantime, the Taliban say they've completed their military conquest of Afghanistan. They've now seized the province of Panjshir, which became a focal point for resistance. A Victorian brother and sister have told a Dutch court of their grief and anger after their parents were killed on flight MH17 over Ukraine. Nine's Brett McLeod has more.
Vanessa and James Risk lost their parents, Albert, a Sunbury real estate agent, and Marie, when the Malaysian Airlines jet was shot down by a missile in 2014. Today, at a Dutch trial in absentia of 4 men accused of the murders of 298 people, Vanessa and James are among the first to give victim impact statements, speaking of their grief and anger at being caught up at what Vanessa called a political nightmare her country wasn't even involved in. How, she said, would Vladimir Putin and his corrupt Russian government answer that? The hearing continues.
And French actor Jean-Paul Belmondo has died at the age of 88. He made more than 80 films over 6 decades. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Who loves South Australia as much as you do? Fluorio Milk Company. South Australian and proud of it.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Today looms as an important training day at Alberton. It's one of the 2 heavier sessions for the week. Mitch Georgiades and Sam Powell-Pepper among those on the outside looking to work their way in before Saturday's prelim final. Meantime, Bulldog skipper Marcus Bontempelli remains an outside chance to play in that match after scans cleared him of major damage to his knee. To tennis, Germany's Alexander Zverev is hopeful his gold medal in Tokyo will help drive him to the first major title of his career. He's into the quarterfinals at the US Open, hoping to stop Novak Djokovic winning a record-breaking 21st major. The 4th seed says he's in good form following a win over Yannick Sinner.
I'm happy where I am. I'm happy with how things are, and I'm happy with how things were the last few months. And I'm in the quarterfinals now, and from here on, the matches definitely will not get easier.
South Africa's Lloyd Harris is also through, while Novak Djokovic plays later this morning. And on the women's side, Belinda Bencic and Emma Raducanu are both through to the quarterfinals following straight sets wins. Well, the Socceroos have been forced to trade on a field infested with toads ahead of tonight's World Cup qualifier against Vietnam in Hanoi. Meantime, Pele has successfully undergone surgery to have a tumour removed from his colon. Team Europe has stunned Team USA in the Women's Solheim Cup, which is a golf event, winning 15 points to 13. That was to claim the biannual event. And in some cricket to finish, India has taken a 2-1 series lead against England after a stirring 157-run win at the Oval. There's 1 test now to play in the 5-match series. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Glenelg BMW is now open on Brighton Road. Drop in and see Adelaide's newest home for BMW.
At Aldinga got a 2-car collision on Main South Road and Aldinga Beach Road. Got residual delays from an earlier collision at Edwardstown. That's on South Road near Raglan Avenue. Avoid that area if you can this morning. And look out for delays on the drive in Crafers and Stirling. Both directions on the freeway, speeds at 60, restrictions apply. Look out for cameras on the drive-in today. Chandler's Hill Road, Happy Valley, and Manning Road at Aberfoyle Park. Hitting the road these holidays, book a Peters brake, steering and suspension check for just $28. For peace of mind and a comprehensive report, visit petters.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
The all-new Audi Q5 Sportback has arrived. Test drive it today at Audi Solitaire in Hawthorn.
Partly cloudy today, 17, sunny tomorrow 22, Thursday sunny 24. Right now it's 13 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Don't miss Olympic Industries Whatever the Weather sale on now. Visit olympicindustries.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
7 minutes after 8, very shortly, Russell Howcroft, the advertising guru and 3AW in Melbourne, Talkback Radio breakfast host, is going to join us to talk about the vaccination initiative that he's part of, with 200 musical acts across the country trying to encourage people to get vaccinated. We'll talk to him about that very shortly. And then after 8:30, it's kind of the other side of the coin. What does the world look like whilst unvaccinated? Well, it looks like having your pub closed and you wondering for how long? When can people turn up? When can staff return? Greg Maitland is a well-known publican here in Adelaide who has faced that predicament. What happens when you own a hotspot? I tell you what, it's nothing good.
How is it managed? How is it managed by SA Health as well? That's the key question.
Exactly right. We'll get into that after 8 o'clock today. But right now, it's time for Breaking at 8.
Well, this story's fascinating, and it shows one of the emerging battlegrounds as Australia tries to emerge from the pandemic. Late yesterday, Telstra became the 4th major Australian company, along with SPC, Qantas and Healthscope to announce that some of its workers will have to be fully vaccinated. Now, this is different from businesses around town, and we did the story last week about Bird in Hand, the winery, saying that they're going to have a compulsory vaccination rule for people choosing to use that winery, which is fair enough. They've got every right to do that as a business, and if you're not happy with it, you can go and get your wine somewhere else. But in terms of the terms of your employment, and this is where there's a potential showdown emerging here between Telstra and the unions. The CEO, Andy Penn, announced late yesterday that 8,300 Telstra workers will have to be fully vaccinated. That's about a third of Telstra's workforce. Today, they're kicking off a week-long consultation period with staff unions and partners ahead of what's going to be one of corporate Australia's biggest mandatory vaccination drives. This is some of what Andy Penn said. This policy would make getting vaccinated a requirement for roles where staff are in regular contact with customers, the public, or other employees, such as our frontline and business critical teams, and those who need to visit customer premises at times. So if you're working from home, or if you're in a non-front of house management position, you won't be required to be doubly vaccinated. But for the 8,300 workers who are there, Telstra's saying those who refuse the vaccine may be forced into, quote, medical retirement. So you'll lose your job.
Medical retirement.
Medical retirement. Now, look, some people might say that's heavy-handed. I actually think, and the figures at the moment, this is where, as a state, as a state that has been so good here at QR coding, at wearing masks, at abiding by the rules of lockdown. We've talked a lot about how people in Sydney and Melbourne have clearly been cutting corners, and how good we are as South Australians at getting on with the job and knuckling down for the greater good, sort of in our DNA, to do that kind of thing. The best way to avoid scenarios that involve compulsion is to simply book a test, book a vaccine, book your jab. Not a test, a jab. The figures at the moment as they stand, 55% roughly.
55.6.
55
as of yesterday.
0.6% have had their first jab here in South Australia. You know what it is now in Bankstown in Sydney? 85%.
Wow,
85%. This was in an area where 2 months ago people were going, oh, you know, what's the rush? Or no, I'm against it, or I'm unsure. So the thing that has made people get off their backsides and do it in Sydney is seeing people die, seeing people wind up in ICU, almost all of them unvaccinated. So if the people, if that should not be what it takes to get vaccinated.
I think people's response to the Telstra story too will depend on whether, do you see them as a crusading ideologue that has a worldview? Because if you do, I reckon you'll be resistant to this kind of concept. But if you just see them as a business trying to inure themselves from the fact that a huge percentage of the workforce might be facing 2 weeks out of action because there's a pandemic going around, it becomes a lot more understandable. It becomes a lot more understandable when you're talking about people that are going to be out in the public. They're trying to protect themselves from financial loss as a result of that.
Yeah.
So your worldview will play a large role in crafting your response to that kind of piece of news. It's interesting. It's an interesting backdrop to the vaccination campaign too that's being spearheaded by our next guest. Russell Howcroft is the host of 3AW Breakfast. You'll know him as an absolute guru in the advertising space, and it was his idea to bring together this 200 artists right across Australia to support the vaccination concept. Some of the biggest names in the businesses you just heard there. Russell, good morning to you, mate. Thanks for your time.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
I tell you what, Russell, if there's one group of people who've been absolutely smashed by the pandemic, it's those in the performing arts. And we know here in Adelaide with the festival, the Fringe, WOMAD, so many different events where they couldn't get artists here from interstate. WOMAD couldn't get anybody from overseas this year. These people have well and truly got a dog in the fight, haven't they?
Absolutely, and it also goes straight through the supply chain as well. So, your roadie, if people aren't on the road, then the roadie hasn't got a job. And that's been going on for a very long period of time. So, yes, it's the headline acts, the headline artists, but it's their support staff as well. So it's been very, very, very tough.
So in terms of the artist, how'd you go assembling such a staggering roll call? I mean, we just heard there the Oils, Powderfinger, Barnsey, these are some of the biggest names in Australian music. It's an awesome roll call of people.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? Well, this is a couple of things. It's the power of an idea. And so I rang up Annabelle Hurd, who actually runs ARIA, and she and I are former colleagues at Network 10. And I said, look, I've got an idea, which I think would work really well for the live entertainment industry. And I showed her the idea, like a rough edit, Powderfinger, people enjoying themselves, and then, of course, they get rudely interrupted. And as a result of being interrupted, they can't go about their normal life. They can't go to a gig. They can't go to any sort of form of live entertainment. So I showed her that idea. She said, okay, let's get a few others involved. Let's show them the idea. So some senior people in the live entertainment industry, people from, say, Live Nation and Mushroom, etc., the TEG, the big players. They said, right, let's see if we can make this happen. And so I then worked with the live entertainment industry. We formed a little, I called it a super group. And then that super group has then distributed the campaign and the messaging and our intent to far and wide. I mean, there are actually 400 artists that are involved in the campaign. So this, of course, shows how keen people are to get back to work. A simple idea, very easily understood by those that we wanted to get involved, then obviously clearly understood by the public. And it's gone nuts. And it's been an incredible 24 hours with, lots of very positive feedback. People recognise the campaign as, well, the campaign's required, and the feedback's been fantastic.
Who's the campaign for? Because
everyone.
63.2% of people in the country now have had first doses. And I reckon there's a huge number under 40 that have probably just booked in around the country, depending on the rules where they are.
That's right.
So how many people out there do you think haven't made up their mind yet?
Oh, no. Well, we know that hesitancy is very low. And this campaign isn't really about hesitancy. This campaign is actually about speed. You just can't. We just can't have people putting it off. I won't do it today. I'll do it next week. Well, why? Do it today. And in particular for older Australians, the country is awash with AstraZeneca. I know in Melbourne, for example, there's 10,000 slots of AstraZeneca available today. So older Australia should be getting on with it. Young Australia has put a lot of their life on hold for a very long period of time. Older Australia should not be waiting around for Pfizer. They should be getting on. And even the very idea that we brand vaccines, I think, is actually quite extraordinary in the first place. Nonetheless, this is about speed. If you have a look at the campaign, there's a little device in the campaign which is a starburst, and inside the starburst it says "Vax Now," which is a very deliberate effort in the communication sense to retail the need to get vaccinated. We cannot wait. We need speed, and that's really what the campaign's designed to do.
We really needed you, Russell, to do the AstraZeneca advertising campaign, as opposed to a Targi, who aren't as well credentialed in this area as you are.
Yeah, well, the Targi, of course, their communication earlier in the year did not exactly do the. And meanwhile, 17 million Brits have used the AstraZeneca. Meanwhile, the woman that was involved with the invention of AstraZeneca gets a standing ovation at Wimbledon, whilst we're going, oh no, I don't want that one. I mean, seriously.
If she was in Brisbane, the chief health officer might have arrested her.
Yeah, it wasn't great, was it? And so there's confusion. There's confusion around the efficacy. It's just unfortunate that that's occurred. But look, we're getting on the front foot. There's plenty of supply now. I really genuinely think this campaign will help. It's certainly designed to help. It's not designed to do anything other than let's get some energy into getting people vaccinated as quickly as possible, so we can go to at this campaign level, go to live gigs, but just get on with life.
Hey, Russell, just before we let you go, got to say, we've been lucky here in South Australia. We've only had the brief 7-day lockdown a month or so ago. We've somehow managed to keep Delta at bay.
Yep.
How is you're someone who effectively takes the temperature of the city every day doing breakfast radio, like us. You get texts, you get calls. How would you describe the sort of collective psychology of Melburnians right now?
I would say tough, resigned, and tough. And I think that what the vast majority of people have gone into, okay, we just got to get through this. We've got to get ourselves vaccinated in order to get out of it. Look, there is pockets of anger, there's pockets of frustration, but in the main, I would suggest that we're a resilient lot over here. We're a tough lot over here. We'll get ourselves through it, and we're going to have a fantastic summer.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Good on you, Russell. Russell
Thank
Howcroft from 3AW Breakfast with a great initiative. And let's say again, folks, following on from what we said in Breaking 8, 55% in South Australia is not good enough. The best way to make sure we don't end up like Sydney and Melbourne and have a protracted lockdown is to just get off our butts and do it. I've had 2 AstraZenecas. Everyone I know over the age of 50 has had it. And none of us have grown an extra head. You know, this is the way to get out of this, to avoid a Sydney/Melbourne type scenario.
It's borne out in the data too, what you're saying anecdotally. Victoria currently at 60%, 60.8% first dose. New South Wales is extraordinary, 74.1% first dose at the moment. Over 50s Australia-wide, 81%. 81% of over 50s right now have at least had the first dose. Over 70s, it's 89%. It's amazing. Those figures have jumped up extraordinarily over an 8-week period. So 8 weeks ago, 50-plussers were at 57. 8 weeks ago, 50-plussers were basically where South Australia are right now. So
we've led at every part of this pandemic. Low case numbers, 4 deaths, high uptake of QR coding, huge mask wearing. We haven't had mass protests like we've seen in the eastern states. So let's not drop the ball now. Let's book a vaccination.
Let's check the traffic situation. Is your BMW due for a service? Well, then book your service today. Glenelg BMW on Brighton Road.
Mount Barker on the freeway, look out for a pedestrian walking in the emergency lane. It's between Mount Barker and the Bald Hills Road exit. Aldinga got a 2-car collision, Main South Road and Aldinga Beach Road. And Parahuas West, residual delays from an earlier car fire, Main North Road near McIntyre Road inbound. Crafers and Stirling slow going this morning, both directions for work. Speeds are down to 60. And look out for cameras, Mount Barker Road, Bridgewater and Roberts Road at Hackham West. For a limited time, you can get $150 off the full range of quality multifocals at Specsavers. For better vision, near or far, should have gone to Specsavers. Conditions apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Rowies Sport Show.
Lachie Neale, he's got 2 years to run this deal. He broke his contract at Fremantle to get to the Lions. Now he wants to do the reverse.
It's hard to speak critically about Lachie Neale because he's an ornament to the game.
4 p.m. weekdays.
He plays the game the way the game should be played. He gets the hard ball and he's won a Brownlow medal. But a contract is a contract.
Rowies Sport Show on 5AA.
Did you know that South Australian explorer John Horrocks was shot and killed by his own camel? His shotgun, still in the animal's pack, accidentally discharged as his camel moved to kneel down, mortally wounding poor John. Actually true. And did you know that all Automasters service and repair centres offer repair now, pay later options? Absolutely true. Switch and save on logbook servicing, repairs, brakes, aircon and more. Call 1300 Automasters. Great service, guaranteed.
Start building now, and you could be living the life many envy at the 19th. Choose your architecturally designed 2, 3 or 4 bedroom luxury home package now from just $730K. The 19th at West offers an incredible lifestyle. Explore West's green pathways by foot or bike, sail or paddle on the iconic lake, swim at Grange Beach or play around at the Grange Golf Club. It's all yours from just $730K, but you'd better be quick. Visit the19thwest.com.au today.
When you think surgery, you think hospital, right? Well, Dr. Greg Keane wants you to think SportsMed.
SportsMed is the only purpose-built orthopaedic hospital in the country, with world-class nursing and theatre staff, a first-class catering team, and the latest innovations in patient treatment and care.
And your surgeons?
We're experts in all procedures for hips, knees, feet, ankles, shoulders, elbows, wrists and hands.
All your treatments, all your care. One place. SportsMed.
Start living life again after your successful surgery.
Sportsmed.com.au.
So, how much did you say your hearing aids are?
Yes, we do have hearing aids.
Yes. So how much are they?
It is a lovely day, isn't it?
How much are your hearing aids?
Oh, why didn't you just ask? Purple, definitely.
This is ridiculous.
What's ridiculous?
Should have gone to Specsavers, because hearing aids shouldn't have hidden prices. For everyday low prices and straight up advice, visit specsavers.com.au/hearing.
Here at 5AA, we're all about supporting local. Don't despair about missing out on this year's Royal Show. Foodland and IGA stores will put a smile back on your face because they have your favourite show bags in store right now.
So now you know about the camel who shot the explorer. You also know how to switch and save with Automasters. Logbook servicing, repairs, brakes, aircon and more. Call 1300 Automasters. Great service guaranteed.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
For verandas, sheds, garages or carports, don't miss Olympic Industries Whatever the Weather sale on now. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
25 after 8. Petrol is expensive. I wish I had better news for you. If your BMW is due for a service, well, there's one place to go. Glenelg BMW on Brighton Road. They've just opened up, ready and waiting for your vehicle. Better that than getting it filled up with petrol at the moment. High $1.60s is the sort of the areas we're talking about, and as high as it gets. The average is about $1.69. So there are some places that are good. They're few and far between, though. Glenelg, interestingly, has low prices today. Speaking of Glenelg BMW, hovering around the $1.31 mark.
Nice.
But Liberty on Marion Road and Mitchell Park is where you'll find the cheapest petrol today. Good old Mitchell Park, $1.29 per litre.
Oh, Mitchell Park.
Which is why it won best suburb, didn't it?
No, it came second.
Oh, did it?
Yes.
Oh, I knew it had a Cinderella
It was
run.
up there. Fell short in the prelim. Well, no, the granny.
It made it to the granny.
Was it versus Theberton?
Yes, I think it was against Theberton.
Still think there's major doubts over the credibility of that competition.
No, it was entirely scientific. We had it vetted by,
Ernst and Young.
Ernst and Young.
Who brings in the McGarry medal votes? Sorry, the Brownlow medal, as it's known in Victoria?
It's one of them where they've clearly never looked at it, but they always manage to have a couple of Brownlows ready in case there's a draw.
Hey, mentioned last week, Chunky Custard reforming this Friday night at the Governor High Marsh, inspired by our chat then with Russell Howcroft. Just a quick reminder, folks, that tickets are still available. This is the Save Our Stages initiative, and we are backing it at 5AA, along with the Hospo Owners Collective, and of course that great live band venue, the Gov. Tickets are $40, and it's going to be a terrific night this Friday. So if you want to get tickets, because there's still a few left, just go to thegov.oztix.com.au. And you can reserve your tickets there to get behind Save Our Stages to do a bit locally for the music scene. Getting a lot of texts on the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line. There's one here from one of our regular listeners, Andrew. Andrew from Rosedale. We love your feedback, Andrew. I want to read this out, even though I don't agree with it. I still just can't work out why I should have to have the vaccine. I'll still get COVID. I'll still spread COVID. I just won't get as sick from COVID. The thing is, though, I'm a healthy 41-year-old. COVID almost certainly won't make me very sick anyway, so what's the point? Andrew, mate, there's plenty of people who've died from COVID in your age bracket who weren't vaccinated. There's people in intensive care in your age bracket who aren't vaccinated. Almost everybody who's in intensive care in New South Wales right now has not been vaccinated. There's people in their 40s who've dropped dead here. Overseas? Like, have you been vaccinated for other things? Have you taken the meningococcal vaccine? You know, I'm just pleading with you, mate. Like, you don't know more about this than the scientists have devoted their lives to it. We need to trust them. You know, this is my dad's entire life was spent in public health, keeping people safe from illness. So, you know, the extent of the doubting is not based in science, mate. So just think it through. Read the legitimate advice. Don't get suckered into the nonsense you see on Facebook.
A bit of a split response to the Telstra initiative to make sure that people that are out in the public get vaccinated. Some support, though, from Kay, who says we've got many occupations where mandatory checks and vaccination is already a requirement. Before COVID-19 became a pandemic, I'm all for it being mandatory. Thank you, Kay. 28 after 8.
I was quite sporty as a kid, but always had trouble with my crunchy knees. And then one day the right knee completely locked. My GP advised me to see a surgeon, so I went on the internet and thankfully found the Joint Replacement Clinic, who explained I needed total knee replacement. That was the bad news. But because of my medical insurance, there was no gap, not a single expense. And with the new knee, I'm swinging the old clubs again.
Ask your GP or visit thejointreplacementclinic.com.au. Renewing mobility, restoring life.
Many of us grew up on quad bikes and we still love them. But a few years back we started migrating to the utility, the comfort and manoeuvrability of the mid-sized two-seat side-by-side and the genuine safety benefit they offer. And now it's happening in droves. 22 years of Polaris Ranger development mean these American-built workhorses remain at the front of the queue. So tow more, carry more, haul, heave and hunt and get into a Polaris dealer and see if maybe mid-size is your size.
Is that one there? No. Oh, found one. Maybe not. Small car hiding behind the big ones. Oh, are they leaving? No, they're getting their bags out the back. I'll just do one more lap.
The worst part about shopping is you usually spend more time looking for a park than in the shops. Not at Newton Central. With access to over 500 car parks, you'll never have to do one more lap of the parking lot before you shop. Newton Central, Gorge Road, Newton.
Get in here. It's Sheeds. We don't have the time to mess around. We can't afford any more downtime and we need a result. It's about trust, and for hydraulic hose repairs, Ryco 24/7 are the ones. They'll get to you wherever you are. Their vans are on the road with fully qualified repairers and they are supported by that other great South Australian team, BL Shipway, who I've known for over 30 years. Call Ryco 24/7 on 133247 or visit ryco247.com.au.
Booze Brothers. Beat the others cold.
Booze Brothers. Some brothers are famous for kicking goals. We're famous for our incredible range of craft beer, small batch, premium wines and spirits. Discover a new drop you can't find anywhere else, or mix and match any 6-pack of beers and get 10% off. Booze Brothers, the Unley, Avenues Shopping Centre, Myland Hotel, and the Duck Inn at Coromandel Valley.
Hi, Rodney Jane here. Bob Jane T-Marts have loads of big deals for safer holiday driving. Buy 3, get 1 free, and instant cashbacks on brands such as Bridgestone, Michelin, Yokohama, Goodyear, Dunlop, Falcon, and Bob Jane Xenon Z7. With Australia's largest tyre range from just $59, our best tyre price guarantee, and biggest alloy wheel choice from only $125, we'll look after you.
T's and C's apply.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy, 17 today with the 8:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
The X in Physio Extra stands for extra time, extra care, extra convenience, with 6 locations. Visit physioextra.com.
The Prime Minister's office is defending his trip to Sydney to be with his family on Father's Day. Scott Morrison was given an exemption to go home and then come back to the ACT to attend security meetings. He's undergoing regular COVID tests and his movements are limited between the lodge and his office at Parliament House. There's been a break-in at a sports store in Findon. Senior Constable Rebecca Stokes says they were called to the Grange Road business at 1 a.m.
Police officers found a front window had been smashed with a hammer by 2 offenders who stole armfuls of Nike clothing before leaving. We searched the area with the assistance of police dogs Marley and Arnie but haven't located these suspects.
An antiques dealer at Glenelg was targeted just before 5 this morning. 2 display cabinets at Cavalier Antiques were smashed and jewellery stolen. The 2 suspects left the store in a black Hilux ute or similar and were last seen heading east on Anzac Highway. A 3-year-old boy who went missing for 3 nights in the Hunter Valley is back home after being checked over in hospital. AJ was found drinking from a creek about 500 metres from his home. SES volunteer Greg Chalmers has described the moment he approached the boy after he was spotted by the police helicopter.
The chopper was pretty noisy and he looked around, he gave me the biggest smile, and I sat down in the river beside him understanding his condition and, just talked to him and just reassured him, and then I checked him for injuries and then sat him on my knees.
Australians are being told we can do a better job at combating violence against women. The E-Safety Commissioner will be part of today's Women's Safety Summit. Julie Inman-Grant says the focus will be on improving policing and prevention issues.
We may not totally stamp it out, but we can certainly do a better job than we're doing now. We need to arm women with more tools. Prevention and education is important. We need to minimize the threat surface for the future and be able to anticipate these harms.
Australia Post is resuming its parcel collection today. It was paused from e-commerce retailers for 3 days across New South Wales, the ACT and Victoria as it struggled to cope with record volumes. The Postal Service has apologised for the inconvenience to customers. A Victorian brother and sister who lost their parents during the 2014 downing of flight MH17 have spoken of their heartbreak. The pair were among the first to give victim impact statements at the Dutch murder trial of 4 suspects charged over the crash. Speaking via video link, Vanessa Rizek directed her message at the alleged perpetrators.
7 years ago, you broke up my family in the worst way imaginable. 7 years on, I am determined that you will never ever break my spirit and capacity to live and love just as my dear parents would have wanted me to.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
3 words make a big difference to our local dairy farmers. Flurio Milk Company. In your supermarket now.
It's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Port Adelaide assistant coach Nathan Bassett admits they're wrestling with who to leave out for this Saturday night's prelim final against the Bulldogs. With Mitch Georgiades again fit and available, the Power has to decide whether to bring him back or stick with the same side that took care of Geelong in the qualifying final. Bassett admitting to Rowie they've tried different combinations this season, including playing just one ruckman.
We've been through there this year where we've left out Pete. We left out Mitch in round 1. We left out Todd 2/3 of the way through the year for a week against Melbourne. We've left out smaller people. We left out Mott late in the year and picked all the taller people. So, we've tried them all at different times, and, we'll pick what we think's best for this week.
Well, Melbourne has some selection issues of its own for Friday night's prelim final against Geelong. Veterans Nathan Jones, Michael Hibberd and Jake Melksham are pushing to play. The trio currently outside the best 22. But coach Simon Goodwin has told Fox Footy they've all put forward a strong case.
There's been a lot of conversations over a few games to cards this week about where they sit and how they're going about their footy. So, I think, everyone wants to play this time of year. It's why you play footy. It's to be involved in finals footy and to play in the ultimate games. And, so they're all eager to play. There's no doubt about that.
To tennis, and Italian Matteo Berrettini has moved into the quarterfinals of the US Open following a hard-fought 4-set win against Germany's Oscar Otte. And Valtteri Bottas will leave Mercedes for Alfa Romeo at the end of the Formula One season. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Is your BMW due for a service? Then book your service today at Glenelg BMW on Brighton Road.
At Mount Barker on the freeway, look out for a pedestrian walking in the emergency lane. It's between Mount Barker and the Bald Hills Road exit. Aldinga got a 2-car collision on Main South Road and Aldinga Beach Road. Crafers and Stirling expect delays in both directions on the freeway for work. Speeds are at 60 and restrictions applied. And look out for cameras on the drive in on Cabringa Valley Road, Balhanna and Regency Road at Happy Valley. Get road trip ready these school holidays with Bow Repairs. Get your tyres fitted in 30 minutes or you get a tyre free. Visit bowrepairs.com.au. Selected stores and T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
The all-new Audi Q5 Sportback has arrived. Test drive it today at Audi Solitaire in Hawthorn.
17 and partly cloudy for your Tuesday. Sunny tomorrow 22, then 24 on Thursday. Right now it's 13 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
'Cause she's living in the love of the common people.
For verandas, sheds, garages or carports, don't miss Olympic Industries Whatever the Weather sale on now. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
22 minutes to 9. We're all familiar with the cycle now. There'll be a press conference. Grant Stevens or Nicola Spira will be at it saying that SA Health have identified some hotspots or areas of concern. They get ranked Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, Tier 4, whatever they might well be. You go to the SA Health website and you read something like this. Cavan, Cross Keys Hotel, Monday 30th of August from 6:45 to 8:15. If you were there, get tested immediately, quarantine for 14 days. It's considered a Tier 1 site. But what does it mean for the people that run it or work there? What does it mean for those that are wondering when they can reopen and how that's meant to all play out? Well, Greg Maitland's the owner of the Cross Keys Hotel at Cavan and joins us on 5AA Breakfast now. Greg, good morning to you.
Good morning, mate. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks so much for joining us, Greg. Now, we had a bit of a chat about this yesterday afternoon. For the benefit of the listeners, walk us through the process by which you guys at the Cross Keys Tavern found out that you're at the centre of this so-called hotspot.
Absolutely. And the listeners will clearly understand after this that we're not all in this together. There's hospitality operators and retail operators and the rest sort of thing. So anyway, we got a call on Friday night at 11:20 to the Hotel Direct to speak to the duty manager who was basically told any staff between who were on Monday, last Monday, from 6 o'clock through till 2 a.m. in the morning had to immediately isolate and that they would be in contact with us. That was it. Now, it's my understanding that was all based on one credit card transaction. There was no interaction with the venue. There was no checking of the video cameras in place or the staff to see what happened. That was it. Then we couldn't contact them, or we received no contact from SA Health till 12 o'clock the next day. So we had a bunch of anxious, nervous staff. We were very worried about the business and what was going to happen, and we were just all left out in the dark.
So how many staff were involved in this? Because I presume there would have been quite a number working there, Greg.
There was at the start because the window was till 2 a.m. But that was solely based on our trading hours. No one checked with us to see whether anyone was in there or not. And being a Monday night, it's pretty quiet out in the suburbs. So we had, I think it was 10 staff on over that whole day, as in like from the 6 o'clock through. So they all had to go, and their families had to go because it was Tier 1, had to go into isolation. We've now got, I think we're down to 5 now once they changed the hours back to a smaller window. Because the fact was that the gentleman was only in the hotel for 37 minutes.
And do you know what he got up to when he was in the hotel?
He walked in, then the camera shows that the man walked in, didn't have a mask, realised it, walked back straight out, put a mask on, came in, went to the bistro counter, ordered a chicken snitty like just about everyone who goes to a pub has, didn't have a drink, had a glass of water, sat down in the corner away from everyone, had his chicken snitty and left. It was 37 minutes all up.
Because the perception was that he was on some sort of drunken bender.
No. The guy drank water, walked in, had his mask on after realising he didn't have it, and then sat down in a far corner of the hotel. And being a Monday night, we probably only had a handful of people in the bistro area of the hotel.
So is all that footage seized by SA Health? Did they get access to that?
The SAPOL got the footage at 4 o'clock the next day, whereas all we would have asked for is that surely the process should be better now. So we're well into this, 20 months in this. Sure, all they would have had to do was send someone from SAPOL out. Within 15 minutes, they would have seen the footage because we've all got a legislative requirement within hotels to have footage and cameras, unlike service stations where it's optional. They could have come in, checked it, seen it very clearly what happened, done, and all these other people wouldn't have had to go into isolation, and all the staff would have been at ease. All the staff have been tested and have all come back negative. So, there's in no stage has it been contagious as such in the pub.
You said, Greg, rightly, we've been doing this for 20 months now. Do you think that when these sweeping decisions that have a significant impact on the well-being the mental health, the sense of security that your staff enjoy or are able to enjoy, and also your ability to keep operating as a business that employs a lot of people and injects a lot of money back into the community, that the process needs to be a bit more transparent and a bit more streamlined.
100%. You would think, again, we're so far into this, and yet we still haven't got anyone we can call 24 hours a day when something happens. They basically put the phone down and left us to hang out to dry, you know. There was no consideration for anyone's well-being or the staff or how they would approach or to explain anything to them. It was just, we'll get back to you when we feel like it, and it was 11 o'clock the next day. I found it, you know, and I found out since that it's actually, there's one roster. They don't work on a rotating roster. Like we've run a 24/7, 7-day-a-week operation for the last 20 years. Hospitals run like that. Why isn't FIVEaa Health now with this operating multiple shifts over 24 hours? Why do they all work long days and then go home and nothing happens? You know, it just seems totally disorganised that way. And then from our perspective, you know, again, it's just another kick in the guts for hospitality where just actually send someone out, spend the extra half an hour to actually get some evidence. Don't just base it flippantly on not even knowing the layout of the venue. They didn't even know whether that person went to the bottle shop, which is a completely separate building.
Yeah.
So, and you know, like there's no issue with everyone going into isolate. We're all doing the right thing. We've all been compliant with our QR codes. That was 100% in our venue of the QR code. And the poor guy down at the cabin, they were manually written down, and they were told that they had no QR codes. They were manually written down. They just didn't request them, and still haven't.
Yeah, you make a lot of good points, Greg. Greg Maitland, the owner of the GM Hotels Group and the owner of the excellent Cross Keys Tavern. Good on you for joining us, mate. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, mate. Good on you.
It is. You know, we're not sitting in judgment of SA Health, but these are big decisions, aren't they? They affect a lot of people.
The thing that's disappointing is when you hear that it doesn't sound like there's been significant improvement in streamlining the process from day dot. Like, you don't expect SA Health's investigative arm to be up and running on day one because they haven't had to have one historically. It's not something that's been part of core business. But you'd like to think this far into the process, things might be a little more sophisticated than they are. Like ring during business hours.
Yeah. Hey, can I read out? We just got another text from Andrew from Rosedale, mate. This is great. He's written back. This is in relation to his text earlier saying as a 41-year-old man he didn't know why he needed to get the vaccine. And he says, Dave, thanks for actually responding to my doubts. I'll tell you, you're doing a better job than Stephen Wade in that regard. I will get I will get the shot, and it will almost certainly be AstraZeneca because when I make the call, I want it done immediately. I just don't like the way the government is sitting there like they've got some kind of God complex saying, get the shot or I'll smite you. I've had all my other vaccines. I'm not anti-vax. I've only had the flu shot a couple of times, though, only on years where I've seen it as a significant risk. I feel as if I'll be getting vaccinated because I want to go out occasionally, not because I'm worried about what's going to happen to me if I catch COVID. Anyway, I'll let you know when I do get it. Thanks. Andrew from Rosedale. Mate, thank you. That is a really nice follow-up text. And, you know, this is the thing. It shouldn't be seen as a hectoring thing. It's because we care about people like you, mate, that we don't want you to get crook. And as Will said, we were chatting about this in the break. You're less like, I mean, when you do get vaccinated, you can still get COVID, but you're less likely to spread it. You're less likely to get sick from it, and you almost certainly will not die from it.
Yep.
And people in your age bracket have. So these are the sorts of respectful conversations we need around this question. That
text, though, is why there's been almost no one in politics anywhere who said a government will mandate the vaccine.
Yeah.
Because there are people that are critical thinkers and will come up with their own decision ultimately that will reflexively say, oh, no, you don't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
That's a bridge too far. And I think they've probably read that right.
Yeah.
And Andrew's a documented case now of that where he says, hang on, if they're going to tell me, I'm hesitant. But I'll come to my own senses on it.
Yeah. Good on you, mate.
13 to 9. Let's check traffic. Thanks to Glenelg BMW. They're now open. They are now open. Brighton Road. Go in, see the wonderful team. and check it out. They're Adelaide's newest home for BMW.
At Jeps Cross, cars broken down the middle lane of Grand Junction Road near Bryans Road, causing delays. Crafers and Stirling expect delays in both directions on the freeway for work. Speeds are at 60, restrictions apply. And Modbury Heights expect delays Grenfell Road near Golden Grove Road for works. It's affecting both directions, speeds at 40. Busy at Goodwood Road, Cayenne Street to Carlisle Street with cameras Main South Road, Morford Vale and Nan Road at Woodside. Love your lunch with a Porto. Chicken salad, Bondi Burger meal deal or chicken wrapper meal deal, just $9.95 each, only at a Porto. Available before 4pm. In-store and takeaway only. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
I'm Kathy Nagel, the Chief Executive of Western Hospital Henley Beach. Western Hospital's cardiovascular theatre is open and servicing the residents of the western suburbs and beyond. This theatre is a direct result of attempting to provide outstanding care for our community. We are very proud to host some of Adelaide's best specialists in our state-of-the-art theatre. If you require cardiology or vascular care, contact us on 8159 1200. Western Hospital, your hospital that cares.
Don't just get a forklift, get a Toyota forklift. When you need a forklift, don't just get a forklift, get a Toyota forklift. Get the world's #1 forklift brand. Get legendary Toyota reliability, get world-leading safety, and get it from toyotamaterialhandling.com.au. Get the Toyota Forklift Advantage. For sales, service and hire, get a Toyota Forklift.
As experts in hearing care, Specsavers Audiology know that when shopping for hearing aids, you need upfront information to make the right decision because hearing aids need to fit your needs, lifestyle and budget. That's why Specsavers provide upfront prices on great value hearing aids online and in store, even before your appointment. And it pays to shop around. Some Specsavers customers say they saved half the price quoted elsewhere on top-of-the-range hearing aids. Specsavers Audiology. For upfront prices and straight-up advice, visit specsavers.com.au/hearing. That website, one more time, specsavers.com.au/hearing.
Hello, Frank Walker from National Tiles. I believe the best investment you can make in your home is beautiful all-new National Wall and Floor tiles in your kitchen and bathrooms. Potentially add thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars to the value of your home now with all new National Wall and Floor tiles in your kitchen and bathrooms. It may well be the very best investment you'll ever make in your home. So don't delay. Order your all-new National tiles now.
At Coles, we're helping lower the cost of your weekly shop with great fresh offers. Like new season Aussie green asparagus, just $2.40 a bunch. Helping lower the cost of your weekly shop. Coles. Value the Australian way. Offer ends Thursday.
You can trust 9 News is live and local. Weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. 9 News.
Don't miss Olympic Industries Whatever the Weather sale on now. Visit olympicindustries.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
9 to 9, we're talking big ideas, big picture thinking and big plans earlier in the program. Like billionaire Mark Law's plan for Tolosa, a 5 million person strong city.
Sounds like a song by the time I get to Tolosa.
It does. They've already done it. Kind of. $400 billion is the cost to build this city. I guess if you've been the boss of Walmart for a long time, maybe that seems like a reasonable price tag.
Blakey should do that. See, the moment you said Blakey should do that, Blakey,
you've killed
goes,
it.
No,
I'm
not doing it.
You've killed it.
I'm not doing it. I do the jokes around here.
Roger's called in with a big plan that worked or didn't work. Morning, Roger.
Hello, how are you going?
Good,
thanks, Roger.
It was a wave recorder, which was built down near ASC there, a big concrete thing.
Yeah.
And was going to be shipped over to Sydney. And when they were trying to work it out, and they were trying to get on barges, and it was too heavy for a barge to float it across, so they put these big sausages and blew them all up, about 18 of them, and tried to get it across to Sydney, floating it.
Yeah.
But as they got to near Kakalinga, it stunk.
Still there, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's still sitting out there now.
Yeah, and you can still see
So
it.
it's been there. It's been there for as long as I can remember.
That's
all rusted and horrible.
That
Isn't it?
was a big plan that went wrong. Hey, Roger, you got a $100 wireless gift card coming your way. That's a good one.
Yeah,
It's some
that's a
good
good one.
local big ideas and big plans this morning. Of course, the Melbourne Star, their big Ferris wheel at the Docklands has just gone bust. A lot of the big stuff that people come up with doesn't necessarily work out in the long run. 8 to 9, let's go behind closed doors. Aussie Fast, Transport Solutions, Interstate Freight Distribution, Warehousing and Local Adelaide Couriers. Call Aussie Fast, 13 13 64.
And when we get behind closed...
5AA Weekend Breakfast with Mike Keelan and Angie McBride.
5 minutes past 6 o'clock, 8223 0000, here till 9. Starting off with a lot of numbers this morning, and Michael Keelan's here too. Good morning, Michael.
Right. Good morning, Angie. How are you?
I'm good, Michael, and pretty soon we'll be crossing to senior forecaster Vince Rollins at the Bureau of Meteorology.
Right. Is that the same as the Bureau of Meteorology? Or
I think it is, Michael.
So that would be just one of the many mispronunciations we're liable to hear on the show this morning.
That's right, and I'm sure we'll cop a bit of slack for that too.
We sure will. That, for instance, the expression being cop a bit of flack, not slack.
But copping slack, that's the same as flack, isn't it?
No.
Oh. And this morning, watch out too if you run a restaurant.
Oh, yes.
Because we'll try our best to put you out of business.
That's right.
Even if you're still in business, we're likely to come on the air and tell everybody that you've closed.
That's right. You've got to understand, this show is a bit like playing Russian roulette, isn't it?
It's like Paul's restaurant that used to be a good one, didn't it, in Gooja Street?
Oh, yeah. Isn't that there anymore?
No, Paul's closed down a few years ago now.
Right, really? I didn't know that. But there are plenty of terrific restaurants in Adelaide, and we're very lucky when it comes to restaurants, seafood restaurants in South Australia.
Actually, Michael, we've just been told that Paul's is still going.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, but it's on the parade at Norwood.
Right. So what was the one in Gooja Street?
I don't know. Maybe that was Paul's as well, Michael. We could just say that they're all closed, and if they don't ring us to let us know, then we'll just leave them closed.
Yeah, that might not be very good for their business, though, if they're still open.
No. Now, apparently, it was Stanley's Fish Cafe on Goodger Street that's closed.
Oh, right, yep. I remember Stanley's, yep.
And Paul's Seafood is still there.
But I thought Paul's, that was on the parade at Norwood.
Well, there's a Paul's Seafood there as well.
Right. Gosh, I tell you what, Russian roulette's not as confusing as this, is it?
No, it's not. It's a lot less complicated.
Right. Perhaps it would be better, Angie, if you and I didn't speculate on what restaurants have closed, just in case they're still open.
That might be an idea, Michael.
Paul's Seafood is still very much open, and it is still totally awesome. Best King George Whiting going around. That place is an Adelaide institution. You know, the late Richie Benno, whenever the Channel 9 commentary team used to be here for the Adelaide Test, but they'd all go into Paul's and get the KGW, King George Whiting.
Magnificent.
A lot of the cricketers loved it as well.
Someone's texted in saying, I'm surprised Angie isn't on stress leave. She's got a very good sense of humour, Angie.
She does.
She is. She's very funny.
Very good singer too.
Oh, exceptional performer.
If we have a Christmas party this year, I want to see her up on stage again.
Sure. You won't have to ask twice. It's 4 minutes to 9.
Hey, congrats on the promotion. What'd you do?
Oh, I upskilled.
Yeah?
Yeah, did a few courses at WEA. Or, as we like to say, I WEA'd it.
With new courses going up every week, you can WEA anything. WEA-sa.com.au.
Get more at Mawson Lakes Volkswagen with great deals on demos right across the range, all ready to drive away. And if you're impressed with our selection of cars, you'll love our service department with next day servicing, complimentary loan cars and breakfast or lunch on us. Why? Because when you're Adelaide's newest Volkswagen dealer, you want to give more. Visit mawsonlakesvw.com.au to see the range online. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, just a short drive from the city.
If you're outgrowing your home, it could be time to select a granny flat. At Selector Homes, we've been building transportable granny flats for over 25 years. And now we can build them on a slab, which means your whole home and new granny flat are on the same level. No stairs and seamless living. Also, we can build to the perimeter of your block, saving you space. Fixed price, no hidden costs. Walk through the Haven Granny Flat at the Selector Homes Display Village. Port Wakefield Road, Burton.
Up to 50% off King mattresses and ensembles now at Harvey Norman. That's right. Bigger the size, bigger the deal on selected Australian-made mattresses and ensembles. Up to 30% off double, up to 40% off queen, and up to 50% off king mattresses and ensembles. Our range includes the best names in Australian-made mattresses from Sealy Posturepedic, King Coil by AH Beard, Sleepmaker and Beauty Rest. Up to 50% off king mattresses and ensembles. Bigger the size, bigger the deal on selected Australian-made mattresses and ensembles in-store only. Now at Harvey Norman.
Hey, that looks amazing. How did you get so good at Photoshop?
Oh, I just WEA'd it. It was easy. Anyone can do it.
With new courses going up every week, you can WEA anything. wea-sa.com.au.
For verandas, sheds, garages or carports, don't miss Olympic Industries Whatever the Weather sale on now. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
2 minutes to 9. Putty is about 2 hours north of Sydney by car in the Wallamai National Park. It was the scene of a pretty extraordinary rescue.
I've got the board, boy. I just got to get obs on the... Get on the fire, get on the PA and tell them... 21.61.
021.61, was it?
Yeah.
That was the moment that a young boy who spent 4 days missing in the Hunter Valley was found and able to return home. 3-year-old AJ is still undergoing medical checks. The rescue team that found him have just spoken. You'll hear him in 5AA News with Mel Usher in just a moment. Spotted by that helicopter in that moment, less than 500 metres from his home.
470 metres to be precise. There's an amazing aerial shot of it showing the spot where he was found in reasonably dense scrubland, and that footage taken from the helicopter of little AJ kneeling in a puddle, taken by the police helicopter crew. That was at 11:30am yesterday, but, you know, the happy news was he was alive and seeing his mum. God, I can't even look at that photograph. She can't even stand up the moment she sees her son. And, you know, like, there's plenty of horrible bloody stories kicking around right now in the world, and this is not one of them.
Yeah,
it's great.
It's a beautiful
that
story.
Photo's
A very happy ending. Amazing. I mean, imagine their surprise at finding him not just so close to the property, but finding him just knocking around. He was drinking water out of a nearby creek. The police had seized a white vehicle in the area, thinking they were dealing with a kidnapping.
Yeah.
Until that point. It's
Amazing.
Extraordinary. Great news
Poor
story.
kid.
Nice way to end on a Tuesday morning. Leon
it ever?
Biner is coming up. We'll catch you tomorrow morning from 6.